Shalom. It is here on a Friday that we meet once again. We gather here today on this Friday evening.
Me without my yarmulke. Go ahead.
To spread the good word of the GiG podcast to our brothers and sisters and followers of the tool shed.
You've been talking to Marty this week?
Nah. I have been questioning Rectoria's friends, though. Pretty heavy into the unemployment thing.
Down in Texas?
Arizona.
Right.
Well, they're
with a Texas phone number.
They're united.
Oh, okay.
They're a united front
together.
across the nation.
I gotcha.
Anyway, let's just hop right back into our conversation that we were discussing before we hit the record button.
Okay.
And we'll get right into the rap stuff. Right?
Oh, okay.
And we were talking. Was there something else we were talking about?
No, go ahead.
Okay, very well. We had. I told you the only OC album that I really have listened to front to back, and it's probably takes up about 95% of the OC knowledge in my head.
Right.
Is the Trophies album with Apollo Brown,
which is a tremendous album, but I was saying I don't think that that's the best album in his catalog. It might be second best though, because the Jules album from like 97, 98-ish is an absolutely incredible album that most people aren't aware of.
Right.
It's one of the few albums I can think of that you can play straight through. You don't have to skip anything. The production is at the highest level it could have been at that time. It's Premier, it's Beat Miners, it's DITC. So everything about it is great. The appearances on it are great. Bumpy Knuckles is on it.
And listen, if Bumpy Knuckles is on it, you know it's a certified.
That's the certification.
It's a certified classic. And I'll try and give it a listen. And this is what I was saying is that I'll give Jules a spin back, right?
Yeah.
I'll try and revisit it, but I don't think that it's going to grab me the way that Trophies did. And here is the reason. When I first stumbled across Trophies, which I believe came out probably, I don't know, it might have came out like 14 or 13 or...
That sounds about right. I'm looking for
it. Had to be sometime...
12.
12. Okay,
yeah.
So I stumbled across it maybe about a year or two after it came out.
Sure, it didn't really come out to much fanfare.
Right. So maybe I heard something else by Apollo Brown and kind of went down that Apollo Brown lane and stumbled on it. At the time, I believe I had just gotten off of drugs, right?
Okay.
And so there was an occasional marijuana smoking going on in my life.
Sure, just to, keep you away from the drugs.
By occasional, I mean daily.
Right.
And so I had just stopped doing hard drugs, so I'm like, my emotional mindset is a little bit frazzled as is. I'm kind of like all over the place with things. I was not feeling great about life 1 minute, and then the next minute I felt like everything was fine, right? So I would smoke a little bit of reefer to help, keep me from doing the hard shit.
Keep you calm.
And when I smoke weed, because it's such a rare occasion, it's like being a fucking 14-year-old kid again, smoking a joint and listening to music, where you're like hearing everything new for the first time.
Everything hits you a little harder.
Yeah. So, and Apollo is such a fucking great producer.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he's, from what I think, he's just pulling samples.
Yeah, he's
maybe replaying samples, on live instruments or something like that.
Yeah, he's mostly sample driven. Yeah, for sure.
So
he's very much a student of Dilla. Like there's samples, but they're cut up in such a way. Like he's very creative with it. But yeah, it is definitely sample driven.
Yeah, and it shows the soulfulness. Like he has a very soulful palette, right? So you get those old soul songs that kind of build these, brass sections that are a little bit funky, but more leaning towards soul, but very kind of old school driven. So it grabs you in a much different way than, let's say, like a Primo beat would grab you, where it's hard boom bap, right?
Okay. A little more emotional.
Yeah.
When Apollo does it, because he's painting a bigger canvas than Premier might.
That's what I think. I don't think that, I'm not saying he's better than Premier.
No,
I'm just saying it's different.
It's different.
Yeah, it's a different thing. So being the emotionally frazzled that I was, and then on top of the smoking weed again, and then add in Apollo's beats, and OC has this incredible storytelling style where he's he's very my tongue is a paintbrush type of guy,
Yeah.
right? Like he's very paints a fucking picture for you with his rhymes. And not only does he paint a picture for you, but he paints so many different pictures that are so far away from each other.
Right.
Like he'll take a lane in his life, expand upon it, and paint this huge canvas for you and show you this beautiful, like this really in-depth and vivid storytelling or rhyme scheme, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And then goes to a complete different lane of his life where you don't think he's going to go.
Right.
And it's like such opposite subject matter, that it's good. It's nice to listen through because there's so many things that he's given you.
You're not just stuck in one. It could the same album any particular day, a different song is going to be your applicable song for the day.
Yeah, and you can listen to it, I mean, pretty much all the way through.
Sure.
So it was a real banger to me, and it really, I can remember it hitting at it. It was very, it was very, for lack of a more masculine word, it was it was very touching. It was
Okay.
a very touching
Yeah.
album.
Sure.
Because at that point, like I said, I was walking around. I was on foot, walking around, trying to figure life out, and it did wonders for kind of keeping my head straight, as well as like, he's got the 5% or undertones,
Right.
and so it was also like empowering, where it's like, oh yeah, I am in control of this shit. Like
Right.
I am on top of this. So that,
I can make it out of here.
yeah. So that Trophies album was near and dear to my heart, and I haven't listened to it for a while. I don't know if listening to it without a head full of weed smoke is going to do justice to it the way that, it once hit.
Well, now it's a nostalgia run at this point, and that's not that you shouldn't, but that's kind of the problem with if you go back and listen to Jules now. This other album was so critical to you that it's tough to compete with that. You're not just competing on a song for song level. You're competing on an entire. This is what was happening in my life at this time.
Right.
So you're competing with everything and not just, hey, this beat's better than this beat because it sounds better.
Yeah, definitely. Trophies is, no matter what happens, Jules could be the better album by far.
Right.
And Trophies is still going to be the album that I think
That's
stands
more impactful.
stands more firm with me.
Yeah.
In the hip hop, in the same hip hop lane, we touched on it briefly last week that Griselda had left Shady.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of wondering what the reasoning behind that was for. And I mean, first off, I thought it was a phenomenal, their story, sans rap music, right? Because I listened to a little bit of Griselda, but they don't grab me like I'm not a huge fanboy. I like them. They're all right. I listen to a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
An album drops, I don't necessarily go running to see what's up with it, but whatever. They're good.
They are. I like them. Their timing is really good because in a world where all of the glossy sort of clubbish rap is all the rage, they are more of a throwback, grimy kind of sound. Their samples are kind of dirty. I don't like the way that they don't use drums as much as they should, but they got their own sound, and it's now they own that sound basically. So
yeah, they stole it from Rock Marciano.
Well, they stole it from Rock Marcy, and there's a couple other people that would do that. What's his name? The Alchemist would do that a lot.
Yeah.
But it's really like if you hear it now, that's the Griselda sound.
It's a Griselda sound.
Yeah.
They popularized it.
Yeah.
They were able to capitalize on a lane that is, it's kind of a new lane in hip hop, relatively new over the past few years, right? Which is not particularly that sound, but the idea of marketing hip hop to middle-aged people, right?
Yeah.
Rather than, so like, hip hop has historically been music that is marketed to the youth. It's a youth culture.
Yes.
And it always has been. And even after it was 20 years old and it's 2003, let's say, right? Yeah. Hip hop was still marketed to the youth. And if you were a guy who grew up with it in the 80s, you went back and you listened to your old shit and you listened to some of the new shit, but you weren't targeted as an audience.
Right.
You just had to get with whatever was happening.
Right.
And I think it was fucking Wes and them guys are smart,
Yeah,
bro.
oh,
They're
for
not
sure.
no fucking dummies.
No,
So
no.
I think it was a calculated move, and I'm almost positive that I heard Benny the Butcher talk about it in an interview, saying that like he realized that they used to rap a certain way, like
Mhm.
a younger way, for lack of a better term here, right?
Right.
And he had noticed that being able to kind of give it that throwback sound, now the audience was a more mature audience. Now, when you come and you have a more mature audience, there's more bread on the table.
Yeah.
You put a 35, your average 35-year-old is making more money than your average 20-year-old is.
Right.
So they hit with the merch game. Like West Side Gun has basically the clothing line that was able to like, he sells shit for wild expensive, and they're like collector's items, and they sell, they put these markups on their product and are able to get it because not only is it good product, they're putting out solid product,
They definitely are.
but they're marketing to an audience that they're playing on an audience's nostalgia and building a relationship off of that. And nostalgia is a
Hell
as
of
we
a
just
drug.
talked about with
Yeah.
OC, right? Like OC would have the nostalgic playback, and you see, like, even though I'm not explaining it very in depth with him,
Right.
like that's something that tugs at my soul, so to speak.
Yeah. So I know you're not necessarily as deep into the wrestling culture as some of the other people on this show,
No.
but this is very much the NWO play, which is everybody who grew up in the '80s, right? And now they hit that age where they remember all these things, but the foundation of it, so the hip hop in this case, or the wrestling, became all shiny and glossy and something that you started getting your old man on about.
Yeah.
These kids these days, they don't know wrestling like I used to know wrestling, and da da da. And then boom, all of a sudden you bring out this collective and you bring out these people that are recreating that aesthetic in some way, but also pushing it forward a little bit. And everybody, like you said, that now you're in that 30, 35, 40-year-old range where they have this money sitting around. They hate what's happening at the moment. They would love to support something that reminds them at least of what it used to be like. And here you are.
Yeah.
Selling all your merch, selling out your tours when, I no disrespect to them, but if they had come out during the golden era, I don't know that they would get as much shine as they get now for what they're doing.
Are we
Griselda.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if we were on
It was
NWO
moving all
still or
around, yeah.
Griselda. Yeah, yeah.
Like if they came out 95, 96-ish, they would have still been respected. Don't get me wrong, because it's still good work.
But they would have had a tougher time
But
getting their foot in the door solely
right.
on the fact that they're from Buffalo and not New York.
Right. That wouldn't have been. That may not have been permitted. They would have to at least fake residency.
It would have made it tougher for them, but because they occupied this lane and they were the team that kind of played to the nostalgia, and they did it right. They, they made some very good business moves on their way. So to see that, like to see them do that and see them kind of bubble, and then next thing you know, a couple years later, you're seeing them sign this multi-million-dollar deal or
With
whatever
Shady.
it is with
Yeah.
Shady. And did it so that they're still in control of their own kind of destiny here.
Right.
It was like it's a very, it's a story of a winner. It's a great success story.
You get excited by that because that's the complete underdog. They're doing old school rap, relatively old school rap,
mid-school rap.
They're from Buffalo. Nobody's heard of them, and they can come out of nowhere and sign with, I guess, for the lane that they're in, probably one of the biggest labels you can be on.
Yeah.
As far as the money that's available and the support that's available.
Yeah.
And here they are.
And so now I don't know the ins and outs of what their contract was with Shady. I assume that it just ran its course. I don't know. I didn't hear anything as it being like them splitting ways, like ill-fatedly or with any bad blood between them and Shady. I don't know. I don't follow it that close either. But I just kind of assume from watching them that they are the guys who would ride their contract out. I also assume that they're the kind of guys who would only sign a 2-3 year contract
just to see what's going on.
Yeah, they're not, I can't imagine that they made it this far and then would sign their life away.
Yeah, they don't seem to have any animosity, but from the interviews and all that stuff, it did seem like they felt as though they weren't getting. This is the same complaint that Slaughterhouse had, was they weren't getting the push from Eminem that they expected. Everybody feels as though when you sign to Shady Records, you're going to have Eminem out in the forefront blasting your name everywhere.
Right.
And Eminem's Eminem. Say what you will about his talent, he's going to hit 50 million people as soon as he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to do that with acts that don't fit who he's selling to.
I don't see him really do it
Well,
at all.
He does it
Who was the last act where you really felt like Eminem was pushing behind him?
Well, I mean, like the appearances that
Obi
are on
Trice? Real name, no gimmicks?
the things that he guests on, and then the people that he has guest on his album, you would think that's giving them a push. If I let you feature on an Eminem album, so many ears are going to hear you that's your shot.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know what he does at his concerts, but Slaughterhouse used to talk a lot about there's points in time where they would have expected him to like shout their name, and he doesn't. He doesn't push them at all. But I
think solely by the fact that you're signed to Shady Records, and that's like an announcement in music news, like that's the push.
Especially now because there's so few labels that have any money as it is. And they're one of the ones that's still huge, only known for rap, and still putting out product all the time.
Yeah.
You get a new Eminem album every year or so.
Yeah, there's not, I mean, years and years ago, there were solely rap labels that were huge names. You had the Loud Records. Yeah.
Or GZA did a whole song about him.
Loud Records.
Right.
And fucking Def Jam. And Jive.
Sleeping Bag Records.
Yeah.
There was a ton.
Raucous.
Right, Raucous. There was a ton of them.
And now it doesn't, it seems like every rapper has their own record label that they're shouting out. There's no real like bigger team,
because all you have
your
to do,
team is whoever
you
came with.
You log on to DistroKid, and you're now your own label for $35 a year or whatever.
Right. So they moved over to Rock Nation, which I don't know. From what I understand and from some of the interviews and research I did, it seems like they already had a relationship with Jay.
Right.
So it's not far-fetched that they would kind of, it's a sidestep. Like you said, this is a lateral move.
It feels like a lateral move to me, because if your complaint is Shady was too glossy of a label, too towards the mainstream of a label, I don't see how Rock Nation is in any different of a lane than that. Like it really does. It feels very lateral.
Rock Nation is more so. You would look at Rock Nation and think more so that they're going to put you on a back burner,
right?
Because
like you're not going to open for Beyonce and Jay.
I mean, you're not going to fucking. God knows what athletes does Rock Nation have? You know what I'm saying? Like what are you going to fucking run drills and warm up at the fucking Nets game? You're going to run layup lines at the Nets game?
Well, they need somebody to replace Kyrie, so maybe.
But that's what I'm saying, is that they have so many other focuses that to push a rap group from Buffalo that only has that has a cult following but not mainstream appeal doesn't seem as though
their roster has Jay,
Beyonce,
Alicia Keys, Rihanna, and DJ Khaled. Like you're not getting a push before any of them get a push. They also have Christina Aguilera. So, like, God bless. I hope they do well.
Yeah.
But that really feels like they went from the same situation to the same situation.
I think maybe a worse situation.
Possibly.
But also, again, we don't know the ins and outs of the deal.
Could have just been a ton of money dropped on their lap. Could have been just go off and do your own thing and don't even report back to us.
Maybe Jay feels like he's gotten so far away from that real fucking core hip-hop fan base.
Right. You're going to get like a whole Jay and Dillinger album?
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but he wants to get his toes back in, and he's feeling like, all right, well, let me do something. He's what, pushing 50?
Yeah.
He might be on some shit where he's like, fucking just, I don't got the same love I had for it. I need a new project to get the love back.
Get the passion back.
Yeah, so maybe he's going to start pushing them. And
it's not like he's going to suddenly start struggling, and that's going to drive his new music.
Right. Yeah, I don't see him having any financial success issues.
If he winds up burning through all his money, his wife still has 6 times as much as him anyway.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens as far as that unfolding as just another part. Because more so than the Griselda music, I like to follow the Griselda story and kind of see how they're building. Justin Malatesta, what's up, buddy? Glad you stopped by. I think it's over for me.
Which thing? There's a lot of things this could be.
It
Which it? There's so many its. Let's narrow this down.
might be life.
Okay. Well, it's a little early to be punching that ticket, but I'm listening.
I day in and day out. I've been having a crap week this week.
Okay.
I'm not having a winning week, right?
Okay.
I'm just fucking going to work, and I'm like, it's one of those weeks where I'm fucking swinging a hammer and going, there's got to be more than this.
Right.
I fucking hate this shit.
Right.
I hate it day in and day out, particularly because I got a lot of headaches going on this week, and some small headaches, some bigger headaches, none that are fucking outrageous, but headaches nonetheless, and I just am not fucking feeling construction. But this is my cycle, right?
Right.
I get my fucking construction PMS 1 month out of the 1 week out of the month.
You get your feelings, you get your checks, and then you're okay.
Yeah. Well, I got checks, so that's why I got some checks, but I also fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I just want to do anything else.
Yeah, that's
just somebody give me anything else that gives me the same money as this.
That's any job I've ever had, and it's why the one or two things left that I'm actually truly passionate about in life, I'm doing my best to not have them become jobs because I'm terrified that like it's just going to ruin the fun for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm very much into computers and building computers and hardware and things like that. And there's a living to be made on that all by yourself. Like, you don't need to go work for somebody else. But I'm terrified that like as soon as you start doing a job, as soon as it's 8 hours a day, as soon as it's a grind, and whether you feel like it or not, you got to do it. It sucks.
Now it loses the pizzazz.
It loses all of its appeal.
Yeah. Yeah, well, construction never had any appeal to me.
Well, the only appeal it had was they would hire you.
They hired me, and I fucking had this conversation with my brother-in-law when we were discussing moving to Florida. I was like, look, I made it this far in construction without trying.
Right.
Like, this just unfolded into a business that takes care of the fucking bills and earns me a little bit of pocket change without me even giving a fuck about it.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I've probably subconsciously tried to ruin it more so than build it, and I've fucking made it this far. So if I fucking wind up moving to a foreign land and put some effort in, I'll probably relatively quickly get back to the same status that I have now.
There's no reason to think you wouldn't because you didn't really plot this out to get here in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know how to get here without trying. If I try, I'm sure I could get back to being a minimal construction crew that just gets by.
Right. Get down to the skeleton crew and it's still going to work out.
Yeah, but it's over, dude. It's
Okay.
over for me trying to believe that I'm anything else but a construction worker.
Well, okay. So
because
so why are we here then?
Why are we where?
Me and you here now.
Oh, so I can cry to you about these things.
Well,
right?
I'm fine by that.
Because listen, as a father and a man, you're allowed to be unhappy with your status in life.
You're just supposed to shut the fuck up.
You just got to shut the fuck up and deal with it. So you're a father and a man, and you will listen to me bitch for a little bit, and you won't feel like bitching at you.
Right.
But, But here's why I say it's over.
Okay.
Is because like that one time when I could fucking get a little bit of relief from this construction grind that I'm fucking stuck on the rabbit wheel of. Because rabbits run on wheels, as we all know.
Just like hamsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is when I go to sleep at night.
Okay.
I'm now dreaming in construction.
Okay.
This is the first time that it's happened. And this week I've dreamt in construction. Not only have I dreamt in construction, I dreamt in realistic construction.
Oh, so it wasn't even like I put the finishing nail in the Empire State Building.
No, I was dreaming about a job.
A deck.
Yeah, I was dreaming about a job that I went to see earlier in the week, and that I was dreaming that we were on site doing that job. I don't even get an escape from reality anymore with fucking taking a nap. So I got to start doing psychedelics, bro.
So in the dream though, were you enjoying yourself? Like in the scope of the work you were doing in the dream, did it seem like you were angry about it? Or
I really don't remember.
Okay.
I
Because that's
just
an important point. Like,
yeah.
if you're miserable about it in the dream too, you might have some bigger problems that we need to discuss. But if you're in the dream enjoying it, maybe it's just your subconscious talking to you about, like, hey,
Trying to tell me like, hey, you
there's
can like this,
much
you know?
worse things you could be doing
Well, my
right now.
subconscious doesn't have to tell me that because Gavone tries to tell me every day that I like this.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, man, you like this. You're bullshit. And I'm like, Geff, no. I
You
don't. I don't like it at all.
From what I know of you, and it's not disparaging, you wouldn't make it in a corporate environment. So
Yeah, no, I don't believe so either.
So any company that has more than 50 employees, you're going to be in and out. Like,
Right.
it's going to be very quick for you.
Yeah.
So now you've really
No, I've proven that. Yeah.
so, so now you've really limited your options, and you have to have something that pretty much you can go out and do on your own without anybody above you dictating things to you, because you don't seem to handle that very well.
No.
So that now your options are even smaller because you didn't go to college, you don't have a famous last name, so now you're basically down to like construction and maybe one or two
Well,
other things.
My last name is in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I understand
So
that, but I've never seen you swing a bat in a sporting event.
That's true. I was a fucking all-star 9-year-old.
All right, well, let's
All
bring
right,
that back.
third base.
Okay.
I played the hot corner.
Well, they got you can get into one of the minor leagues. What they have there's a North Jersey team, like they're like the Trenton Mobsters or something like that. You can get in with them.
Yeah, the Goodfellas, I think they are.
That might be
something.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they definitely have a jersey that's got.
Yeah,
just,
we talked about it once. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the benefit, is that nobody else is my boss.
right.
Because the only thing worse than me having to do construction every day would be having to do construction for somebody else.
Or anything else for somebody else, like anything at all.
I don't know, man. There's probably some things that I could enjoy doing for somebody else, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't fucking... What do I know? You know what I mean? I think if somebody came in and wanted me to be a fucking... a radio host, I could work in a corporate radio environment.
Well, yeah, I could see that, but
I'd probably wind up being like a rock star diva radio disc jockey.
right, but that works though. Like the only thing getting into radio, you just have to be willing to be a gypsy.
Yeah.
If you're willing to be a gypsy, you can do whatever you want on the radio until it catches on.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to keep moving from station to station when they keep firing you in the meantime.
I'd be cool with it.
Yeah.
As long as I was like making enough bank that like when they kicked me, I could go buy.
You'd be okay.
Yeah, like I could make the move. I'd be cool with that.
Right.
So yeah, so I had a dream that me and fucking Gav were doing this job and talking to Troy. I think we were hanging drywall. It was fucking super exciting. Super exciting.
That does sound very exciting.
Yeah. The past few weeks we've been trying to discuss the best inventions never made.
Okay.
And it dawned on me that even though my last name isn't famous, I am in the same lineage of the inventor of the best invention never made. So my sister, my older sister,
Okay.
Steph, not to boast or
not
anything.
to brag, yeah.
But in elementary school, we were in the talented and gifted program.
I could see that,
Me
sure.
and my sister both.
Yeah.
I don't know if my little sister was or not. She's book smart. And so I don't remember if she was or she wasn't. I would assume she probably was, but I really don't remember. They called it Excel, right?
Okay.
Some schools call it
Tag. They call it
Tag.
tag, yeah.
Yeah.
Talented and gifted.
which my mother referred to as Tards and Geeks.
Okay.
So
that was really nice of her
So
to
it
be
was
supportive.
really embedded in me early that it was a good idea to be smart.
What are you
right?
reading books, you nerd?
Oh, what are you, one of those guys who thinks, huh?
Oh, I see you got answers to the math problems.
Yeah, fucking, you look like a guy who thinks about stuff. Yeah, so I'll never forget that, dude. I told you that story, right?
Yeah.
If you're
like that's a deep cut. Like he really felt like that was a deep insult.
Yeah.
Was you look like a guy who thinks about things. Like, yeah, I tend to.
Yeah,
And
if you're listening and you didn't hear that story, head back to like episode 8 and it's in there. But I was working for somebody and I was working with an older dude and we were relatively new with working with each other. Probably within the first week that I was working with this guy, and I'm talking to him about like life or something, right? And I said, well, the way that I see it when I think about it, and he looks at me and he goes, yeah, you seem like one of those guys who thinks Like I was some kind of asshole for putting thought into my life. And I fucking felt like a jerk off when he said it. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck?
I am a thinking
Maybe
kind
I
of guy.
should stop
What the fuck
fucking
is wrong
thinking.
with me?
But then I went home in one of my thinking spouts.
Sure.
And I was like, man, fuck that guy. He's an idiot. Of course I fucking think. Yeah, I fucking
That's what
think
I'm supposed
about
to
like
do.
you prick. I'll never forget him. I wish I could remember exactly who he was because that would make it that much better.
Just to find out where he stands now with the whole thinking
he's
thing.
somewhere fucking with his brain outside of his head. He doesn't like to think.
No.
So
it's tiring.
So as we were in the talented and gifted program,
Right.
there was an invention like seminar or like an invention convention. That it may have been called the invention convention every year, and all of the schools in the district, their tards and geeks would all create something from like paper, you know what I mean, like blueprint on paper, idea, model, to creation, and bring it to the invention convention, and then it would get judged by like the superintendent's wife and like the fucking secretary at the middle school and shit like that. So my sister created the clothes warmer. Now this is fucking phenomenal, dude. I wish I had a clothes warmer. I could probably make one, but I won't.
Okay.
So the way that she built it, it was like a box like that you get on Christmas when you get a shirt in a Macy's box, right? But it was like a sturdy one. It was a nice sturdy fucking box. Inside that box was a heating pad.
Okay.
Right? That heating pad was there, and there was like maybe something over top of the heating pad. There was another heating pad on the top. So when you close this box, you would put your clothes in and sandwich it between two heating pads, and the heating pad was hooked up to a timer. So you would set that timer for like 20 minutes before you woke up,
right?
And you would hop out of bed and be able to throw on like a warm pair of pants or whatever, whether it's your clothes you're going out in for the day or you want to put your robe in there just to hop out of bed into a toasty robe, and you're good to go.
Right.
Which I think is a fucking phenomenal idea.
It is.
Because I wake up to a freaking ice cold house every day.
Right.
And I walk around with a blanket. Right? Like the first part of my day, like I'm getting very close to a robe, but I just don't think I'm ready to hang it up yet, you know? I just don't think I'm ready to call it and full on subscribe to being an old man yet by getting a robe. So I throw a blanket around my shoulders while I make my coffee because it's usually 69 degrees in my house every morning.
Feels like it's 3 or 4 degrees too warm.
Yeah.
It is a good idea. You have a dryer, and your dryer will do that. And one of the first...
Not my dryer.
Well, some dryers. One of the first professional jobs I had, they were very big on you should look presentable, which I didn't understand because it was a call center job. But the lady in the orientation, she was like, you get up in the morning, you get yourself a face cloth, you wet it and then wring it out so it's just damp, and you throw it in the dryer with your shirt. So your shirt warms up and the steam gets the wrinkles out,
takes the
and
wrinkles
then
out,
you got a nice warm shirt and nice pants to throw on.
Yeah.
So your sister's idea, obviously, people have thought that it's necessary.
But you have to get out of bed to go to your dryer to do that.
Right.
This was on a timer that you set.
Right.
So you're good to go right out of bed.
Right.
Which I thought was a phenomenal idea. They called it a fire hazard. Maybe. But there, with a couple of dollars in research and development, we could get around the fire hazard part of it.
Yeah,
and make it safer.
I'm sure there's a way to do that, to put a fuse in it or a breaker in it.
Yeah.
And go from there. The only thing you have to concern yourself with then would just be making sure that it's not possible to get it so hot that it burns fine cloth like silk or whatever.
Well, yeah.
Or just
put the warning on there.
We don't want you to use silk.
Cotton only.
Yeah.
My eyeballs are dry as shit.
Well, at least you don't have contacts tucked in the back of them, though.
This is going to be one of those ones where I'm fucking doing this the whole episode.
Why do you never bring saline in with you?
Because, it's only about 10% of the time when they wind up drying all out, and the other 90, I just don't think of it.
You have
I know
5 shelves behind you. Get a cool-looking bottle of saline and throw it up there.
I should. I will. It's killing me. Can we pause the recording?
I can pause it if you want me to, yeah.
All right, let's pause it for a half a second.
Okay.
And if you're on the... All right. And we're back?
Yep.
All right, my eyeballs feel much better.
Good.
And I have the saline solution close by in case we run into that problem again.
Excellent.
Yeah, I had a contact in the back of my eyeball this week.
Yeah, that's gotta suck really bad. I noticed like throughout the Tuesday, I guess it was, that when you were posting up your little shorts, your one eye just kept getting more and more closed as the day went on, till you were just winking at everybody.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. Like I've had it slide to the side, but you usually see a piece of it.
Right.
I couldn't see it, so I felt like something's in there, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, it hurt. When I closed my eye, it felt like it was scratching. Like it just wasn't. Something was wrong. So 2 days later, I'm like, all right, today's definitely going to be the day when I go to the doctor for real, right?
Okay.
And when I woke up, I felt a little something in the corner of my eye. I went into the mirror to look, and there it was, peeking out, the edge of my contact, peeking out the edge.
Just enough.
And I'm just yanked it out.
What have you ever had to go to the doctor for that before? I don't wear contacts. Have you ever had to go to the doctor for that before?
No, because anytime that it's ever happened, I get the edge of it peeking out
And
where
you
you
can
can
pull
just
it
kind of yank it.
What do you anticipate that they could have done for you?
I think they
Just
got to
flush it?
I think they got to cut the side of your head open
Okay.
to get in behind your eyeball.
Because I carved up my cornea once, and I had to get there's like a Band-Aid they can put on it. But I don't know, like if it's back behind your eyeball, what exactly their approach would be beyond just flushing the shit out of it.
Yeah, Louis J, what's up, Louis? Yeah. No, I think what they probably would have to do is like cut your scalp, right, and like peel your skin back.
Okay.
Probably take like a multi-tool or like a
Like the
maybe
the Bosch tool for doing the trim.
yeah, like or maybe a they could probably see. I would say that they could do it with like a jigsaw, but that might get too close to your brain.
Yeah, sure.
So it's probably
the
like
risk you're running.
Probably like what do they call a Dremel? They would just take
okay.
they take a Dremel,
Right.
just cut out like a little square sliver of your temple,
Right.
and then start
Just
fishing
going
around behind your eyeball.
Little microscope on the end of the
Yank it,
that makes the most sense. Yeah.
yank it right out.
Sure.
So yeah, so that got solved. I also, I don't watch TikToks.
Right. That's not your thing. Facebook
However,
Shorts
I
or
do
YouTube Shorts is your jam.
YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels,
Which, for the most part, at this point, are
actually TikTok. Yeah, I know.
rebroadcasted TikToks.
So I've learned. I saw one where it was it's this, regular 30-something white mom
okay.
dancing around with some music, bopping, not dancing,
Sure.
bopping.
Sure.
And she's doing her bop, and she pulls up a plastic cellophane from cigarettes,
Okay.
and then reaches down and pulls a handful of goldfish and drops them in the cellophane.
The
then
crackers,
folds it.
not the live beans.
No,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Folds it and then seals it with her lighter.
Okay.
And it says, "When you're a good mom, but you have a past," which I thought was fucking hilarious. About 40% of the people in the comments were like, "This is
Understood.
disgusting. This is disgusting. You're bagging up goldfish for your children."
Hey,
Like
they
you know
gotta
what?
eat.
Yeah, listen, shut the fuck up. Because and then
It's not like she's sending them to school with the cigarettes.
yeah, no, you're right. But that's it was like bagging up
Yeah, I understand.
up dope. In
I
the
understand
cellophane.
what
Yeah,
it was.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah,
I'm not that naive.
Yeah, so sometimes you have a past, and which made me think of like when you're a dad with a past, what are the things that you do?
I don't know that there's anything I could specifically point to that you would say, oh, here's a guy who's done some dumb shit in his past.
Yeah,
But there's certainly like a line of logic for certain things that I will teach my son how to do that is not the accepted way to do it, and it's a shortcut because I've read too many books that I shouldn't be reading type of stuff. But I don't think there's anything quite that. Like my drug dealing and selling days were limited to like 4 or 5
when you were
ridiculous stories.
I mean, you
and that's
were
about
an
it.
interstate kingpin for a little
Yeah,
bit
but I mean,
for one day.
But
there.
it was back in the 40s, so
yeah, fair enough.
Well, no, that's actually twice I've been an interstate kingpin, and one worked out
back when
sort
they
of.
were selling Tuinols.
That's right.
What's another old ass drug? What predates Quaaludes?
Yeah. I think Quaaludes go way back.
Yeah.
Because Elvis was on Quaaludes. So.
All right, so you could have been selling
Yeah.
ludes in the 40s.
Selling ludes. Quinine, whole bunch of quinine pills.
Yeah. I I don't know if it's necessarily things, but I think because of my mischievous, to put it nicely,
That's a good
my
way to look at it. Yeah.
mischievous past, I think I'm a lot looser with, like, I could be a much stricter father,
Right.
but I think I'm a lot looser because I realize that some things matter and some things don't.
Right.
Right? And I also realize that Sadie's probably not like me in the fact that if you tell her not to do something, she's gonna want to
That's it.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Well,
you,
she's a girl, so like that seems to be inherent in all of them. Is whatever you tell them not to do, they're going to push against you.
yeah. Now she listens pretty well.
Okay.
For like whatever we say, like, hey, you can't do that. She's not. She won't. She's like very wants to follow the rules, which
Okay.
is very weird because I'm not that guy and her mom isn't that guy.
So we talk about this a lot, and I know you don't like to get too deep into it, but do you think you're not that guy because that was like foisted upon you in your youth? Like if your parents hadn't pressed so much about being a stickler for the rules, do you think you would be this anti-rules? Like, is it so? They say
I think
everybody either grows up to be their parents or be the exact opposite of their parents, and you're clearly in the exact opposite
Yeah,
as far
yeah.
as this is concerned.
Absolutely.
Because you didn't like what was happening to you. So perhaps it's not that you don't like authority; it's that you don't like how you were treated in regards to authority.
I think that my lax attitude when it comes to like trying to be a stickler for telling her what she should and shouldn't be doing and can't do. I think that my concept and like my idea as being a father is like I'm more here to coach you
Okay.
and play the sideline, but tell you like, hey, this is the pitfall that might be ahead of you here, not to like shelter you. And I heard, and Jordan Peterson, though he's a very
Polarizing.
exactly
Sure.
a polarizing figure, and I don't particularly love his attitude, but every once in a while I stumble across a Peterson clip that shows up, and it makes sense. And he said, this one makes some sense, not 100%, I'll say.
Sure.
But he was saying like, it's if you aren't preparing your child for the world that they're going into, then you're failing them or something to that fact, which was that he was saying like you're supposed to be hard on them because the world is going to be hard on them. Which
See, I don't feel that way at
not
all.
100%.
Yeah.
But I also think that some of that is true. I think that if you coddle your child too much, then you're not doing your job, which is I think more so as a father than a mother. I think as a mother, your job is to coddle your child and to love them and
Sure.
say, "Baby, everything's going to be all right."
Right.
And as a father, I think your job is more to be like, "Hey, look, it's not going to be all right if you don't X, Y, and Z,
Right.
or if you don't see this in front of you, it's going to fuck you up." You know, if you're not aware of this. So I think somewhat of that is true, that you do have to kind of give them a healthy dose of the truth early on and often.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think it through.
I don't think
But
that
I
means
know,
being mean to them.
No. But I mean, like I don't understand the world that he's going to grow up in. Like I'm not in touch with that world. The world that I grew up in is wildly different than the world that my parents existed in at that time. And while
like we can't let our kids walk to the store. Maybe Alessandro can at this point as a 10-year-old.
And my listen, so the Wawa, the closest Wawa to my house, if it's an eighth of a mile.
I thought the 7-Eleven?
No, the Wawa.
I didn't know there was a Wawa.
So this is the thing, right?
Oh yeah, back like through the woods and stuff.
Right, but it's not through the like. Don't. It's
There's
not,
a street back there.
There's a sidewalk. There's a full-on sidewalk. So it's about an eighth of a mile for my kid to walk to the Wawa and walk back.
There's a street that runs there.
There's a path. There's a sidewalk. Okay. The sidewalk cuts through my street down to the Wawa, and like you don't have to go through the woods.
I know exactly. I could see behind your. I could.
One time he had to go to the bathroom, and I had to get gas. So I pulled in, and he jumped out of the car and ran off. And the gas station attendant watched him run like off up the street, and he's like, I don't think he's coming back. I know where he lives. But like, I have no, especially during the day, I have no problem. Dad, I want to go to the Wawa. We're out of ice. Okay, yeah, here's $3. Go ahead, come back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any concerns about that
I
at
feel
all.
better that you have to buy ice for your house. That I have to buy ice for my house too, because
I
I felt really shitty that. But you probably don't have an ice maker at all,
I do this. We
and
talked.
it's broken.
No, we talked about this. I have to cut some PEX pipe to run the water to the
I
ice maker.
gotcha. Yeah.
And I have the T. I have it all hosed up except for the part where I have to cut the PEX and put it in place. And I'm just terrified of cutting that PEX and being wrong about what I purchased, and the house just not having water after that.
Yeah.
But like I have no qualms about that at all.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 o'clock at night might be my cutoff. My wife, no,
Well, that's
it's
her
just
baby
not fucking
boy.
happening.
Yeah.
But I like,
But that's your job as a
like
father.
what's gonna happen? What's
Well-
gonna happen?
Anything could happen.
Oh, sure, okay.
There could be a mass murder at the Wawa.
yes, but there could be a mass murder at the Wawa while I'm there with
Yeah,
him too.
I agree. No, I
And
agree.
as far as like kidnappings and stuff, like he doesn't fit the standard demographics. For him to get kidnapped at this point,
He's not cute enough.
no, it's not about being cute. It's about at his age, like 99% of the kidnappings are the other parent. Like just like when you're 11 and you get kidnapped, it's because your parents are split up and your dad takes you from your
Right,
mom.
right.
It's not him. He's
Right.
not a target for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying to get him back anyway, but that's neither here nor there.
Nor he's also a 10-year-old boy who's gonna be like, "Fuck you, dude,"
And take
run.
off. Yeah, he's agile.
Yeah.
And he knows he's got a little bit of common sense in him. So that's like I said, he doesn't have to go out on any main streets. He's not going to run into traffic. He's going to walk into a building that he's got a direct path to and come back. What's the fucking
Yeah, no,
problem?
I think as a 10-year-old boy, if you would be doing a disservice if you weren't
It
letting
wasn't
him do
encouraging
things
to
like that.
Just go out on your own.
Get a little bit
You'll
of
be okay.
independence, yeah. And he, because at 10, and this goes back to what we were saying, is that I lived in a different world. My parents lived in a different world. Their parents lived in a different world. Because at 10, I was all over the place. As soon as I could ride my bike, I was off the block.
Yeah.
And I could remember my mom telling a story of her being 3 and 4 years old and being allowed to walk 2 blocks down through the alley in South Camden.
See, that seems a little wild to me.
But in fucking 62, it might not have been that wild.
Right.
In 62, in a neighborhood like a tight-knit Italian neighborhood in South Camden,
It's
like,
that's everybody's
whatever.
kid.
Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, there goes little Karen.
But so that's
Hey, Karen, where are you going to? I'm going. You know
Right,
what I
so
mean?
that's
And it
the
was
thing.
like
So,
a
like-
regular thing.
like I can't prepare him for his world. The best I can do, and I feel like this has to be my approach for a couple reasons, but let him make the mistake, then tell him why it was a mistake, and explain to him the points at which you could have done something differently so that it wouldn't be a mistake. Like, I don't even feel quite right just preaching to him out of the blue about this is how you got to do things and this is how you got to live your life, and when you get older, shit's going to be shitty and just get ready for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, okay, how'd you fuck up today? All right, well, let's talk about what you could have done differently, and let's do it differently next time. And that's seems to have worked so far. He seems to be a pretty good kid comparatively, and I don't like doing this, but comparatively, when I watch his friends and how they behave versus him, I'm much happier with his behavior than theirs. I'm biased.
Well, that's also because
I'm biased.
Yeah.
But also there's certain things like we'll go to like a school function,
Right.
and his friends are like running around screaming like banshees, and my son's sitting next to me just reading the literature that they handed out, and I'm like, you want to go run with your friends? He's nah.
You want to go run like want to go be a banshee?
Go scream like a banshee? No, I'm going to sit here with you guys. This is why we're here. All right, good. I'm very happy with that decision.
Yeah, I said that to Sadie, not like maybe in the past couple months. I'm like, you're like a little screaming banshee, and she's like, "What's a banshee?
Running around screaming like banshees.
What's a banshee, Dad?" It's a 4-wheeler,
It's
baby.
a thing.
It's a Yamaha 4-wheeler.
It's a thing that makes awful noises.
Yeah. I have I have this far said like, I approach it very casually.
Yeah.
Like, hey, and try and have like casual conversations and drop gems inside of that without being like, like I said, I think mom's job is to coddle.
Right.
Dad's job is to like push you towards independence.
Yeah.
And so I try and do that the best I can.
Yeah.
Now, as a mischievous ex-knucklehead, I think that I might be a little bit looser than some people because I had a whole train of thought and then we went off of that train of thought.
Sorry.
But it happens to the best of us,
You're a little looser because you've seen things and you know what people really what's really not a big deal and what really, really, truly
I
is.
think I understand that at the end of it, right? If God forbid that she gets into some all types of wild trouble in her teen years, right?
Right.
I also know at the end of it, it had a purpose,
Right.
right?
You're you now, and it makes you more comfortable with the idea that she could be you then, and it can still turn out okay. You don't have to abandon ship just because she got pinched.
we got a couple of speed bumps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God forbid, I hope that because if she lives half of the lifestyle that I did, I'm not going to be happy and I'm not going to be fucking sleeping well at night. You know what I'm saying? But also somewhere in my brain, it'll be like, well, when she makes it through this, it can and probably will be all right on the other side.
I'm a little terrified of him, Alessandro, getting a little bit older. Like I wasn't much of a hassle to my parents when I got to like the 14, 15, 16 years old. They got maybe one or two middle of the night calls about me.
Right.
But he is much more willing to do stuff to entertain his friends, and that's the guy who's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like he's already I don't know if we talked about it, he got in trouble in the first grade for whipping his brajol out in front of the class because
his friend told
because a
him
girl
to.
asked him to.
Yeah,
and he's like, okay, here you go. And we had to sit with the principal and look the principal in the eye and talk about it. And I'm like, look, if she didn't ask him to do it, it wouldn't be a problem. But he's very willing to be a clown for the sake of his friends, and that's the kid who winds up just fucking doing dumb shit.
I do shit like I'll listen to filthy rap songs and not like.
That's always been a thing.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what? It's just fucking rap music. Whereas when I was a kid, it was like, oh, you can't have this. It has a parental advisory sticker on it. Like, hey, baby, here's the cold truth of the world. Like, people talk filthy, people do filthy things. We don't do it. And that's what you need to know.
The language in our house would just, some people would be appalled. But so far, he's been really good about.
But also, the language in your house isn't a Kevin Gates album either. So, I mean, you know,
No.
spit in your ass, I didn't know you liked it rough like that is not necessarily.
We try to whisper that stuff. But, like, he's been pretty astute. Like, I don't think we really ever had to tell him, but he doesn't say any of the stuff that we say, and he certainly doesn't say it in school because he hasn't gotten in trouble for it.
I can't pay Sadie to curse.
So,
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried to edge a curse out of her.
I've tried to trick him into it, and he's like, "I'm not going to say that part." Like,
yeah.
But I said it, so it's okay if you say it. No, I'm still not going to say that part. It's like, all right, maybe you're a good kid.
And damn, there was one more thing that the Kevin Gates and the Friends and oh man, I lost it. Anyway.
Yeah, we've been doing the rap since he was born. I mean, that's the way it is. And to a certain point, when I think he was like 3 years old, and I put on Award Tour, Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
And he made a comment about the beat, and he said, "Daddy, you did really good on this one." And it occurred to me at that point that like he doesn't understand, but he thinks I've produced every rap song that we've ever listened to.
Yeah. Lou says, my aunt used to get really angry and say rap is crap all the while she was a deadhead. Is Al Neary calling because he wants to be on the podcast?
No, I highly doubt that.
Well, we have 2 viewers and 1 we can't see. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, let me say, hold
on. My aunt used to get really angry and say rap is crap all the while she was a deadhead.
Rap is crap. Yeah. Yeah,
but that's you know,
that's one of those things. Like my mom,
it's a generational thing. You tell us every week that this new rap sucks and you can't find any you like.
Yeah, I do say that, but like,
and then
my mom would criticize it, and like the things that she would they talk too much about this,
they're vulgar.
This, right? But then, Mom, you listen to this song and this song that are both about the same fucking thing, and she will look at me just fucking. They are. Yeah, what do you think they were singing about?
Yeah.
What did you think the Four Seasons were singing about in that night in 1963?
Right.
She's like, it was just a good night at the prom. It's like, it was a real fucking good night at the prom, Chief.
Mom, what did you think Cocaine was about by Eric Clapton?
A girl.
You know? So, yeah, when you had good intentions and a bad past, that's a thing.
Yeah. You learn from your mistakes, and you try to coach your loved ones against those mistakes.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
The best invention never made. I talked about that. So, the news was that the case?
No.
No. All
No.
right. Okay. The news, who is apparently running out of things to report,
Okay.
had a fucking groundbreaking story the other day
Uh-oh.
about a Hellman's tweet.
Hellman's, okay.
Not only are they fucking reporting on tweets, but they're reporting on tweets about mayonnaise.
Sure.
Hellman's tweeted, "You should put mayo in your coffee."
All right, so I'm going to say two things right off the top.
Say as many things as you'd like.
Firstly, that sounds fucking vile as a person
I
who
don't know.
thoroughly enjoys mayonnaise. But there's already...
See? Now you stepping out of your lane once again, so I might have to smack that ass.
But people are already putting butter in their coffee, so the mayonnaise...
Which the news also brought up.
So the mayonnaise isn't a huge leap from the butter. It's certainly more than the butter. It's more than the butter, but like the mayo is eggs, oil, and blended. So you're not that far past butter if you're already committed to butter anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I will put ice cream in my coffee, but I don't think you will catch me putting mayo in my coffee under any circumstances.
Yeah. No, me neither. But the fact that they fucking tweeted about it, I think it was it's a troll tweet. Put mayo in your coffee.
Yeah, it's an attention getter.
Not only is it a troll tweet, but the news fucking took it hook, line, and sinker, and then gave Hellman's the fucking more free advertising by put mayo in your coffee on the news.
They got what they wanted.
So all in all, I guess it's a win for everybody.
That's why all the smart brands are playing those games, because it's free advertising. You hire a $15 an hour intern to write those tweets. You have all the oversight in the world, because if anything bites you in the ass, you go, hey, we fired him. We're good. We'll move past it.
Yeah.
We didn't realize he was going to do that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's getting fired for a mayo in the coffee tweet.
But
though.
I'm just saying,
But if they
in
step
general,
out of line.
right? Yeah, you fire him. You go, hey, that's a sacrificial lamb, and it's just an intern in the first place. You don't follow TikTok, I know, but just an example of that. There's this woman.
Oh,
22.
speaking of TikTok, okay, let me hold on to that.
All right. And her whole shtick is she comes on and she says, I have a degree in art design, and I decided to redesign some corporate logos that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And then she does like a fucking atrocious job on purpose of redesigning these logos. And she got popular enough that some of the brands
are suing her?
No. They're using her design as their logo on the TikTok. And it's perfect. She did all the work. They get to look like, oh, you guys are really cool and hip like we are.
Yeah.
And, and there's no downside to it.
Yeah.
They had the Detroit Lions. She redid their logo, and she doesn't understand why they have the picture of a lion. They're the Detroit Lions. So, like, she draws these three lines. The Detroit Lions went out and made shirts, and they ran practice wearing shirts that said the Detroit Lions and had her logo on
That's
them.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah, she's pretty funny about it. But, yeah, they all adopt it because they know they can do it. And then if it goes sideways, you fire your cheapest employee, and you go, sorry, we won't do it next time.
Or if it goes sideways, well, shit, she didn't work for us anyway.
Right.
We are terribly sorry.
We didn't realize.
Yeah,
it was
in poor taste.
Right.
Yeah. In my fucking YouTube shorts, aka my rebranded TikToks that I fucking somehow this fucking one of these fraud couples has made it in.
Okay.
I fucking can't stand them, and I can't get rid of them now. I've been trying to thumbs down shit so they fucking leave.
So they get out of your
They
timeline.
do the dumbest shit. Like it'll say like, trying to not kiss my husband all day. And then, like, the girl goes and, like, babe, give me a kiss.
Right.
And then turns her head, like, all day. And then he fraudulently is like, babe, what are you doing? Why do you keep doing this to me, babe? I just want to kiss. And they're these two, like, beautiful young people.
Right.
And I don't think they're even married. I think the fucking husband is gay, and that's his best friend. And they're like, hey, we'll just fucking play this whole shit up. But I can't fucking get rid of them now.
There's two couples that I watch on TikTok that do something like that.
Yeah.
But they are very it's very clear that this is a joke. Like they're not. There are those that pretend like this is just our day-to-day life and
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. But no, they're flat out obvious. Like we're just joking with this, and here's some jokes, and it's like they're pretty good.
How do I get rid of them out of my shorts?
I don't know how the YouTube stuff works. I'm more acquainted with the Instagram and the TikTok stuff.
How would you get rid of them if you had them on fucking TikTok?
I would do a search for a hashtag that I'm very interested in, hip hop music.
Yeah.
And just start liking every single thing that comes up on the For
You got
You
to
page.
algorithm it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof. That seems like a lot of work. But then I feel like I might. What if I lose some ones that I like?
Right. So you just got to roll.
Like, what if I lose? Listen, if I fucking do that and then I lose the Big Bank Challenge,
the Big Bang Challenge. Or what if you lose Johnny Drinks?
or if I lose Johnny Drinks,
Right.
I'd be
You
willing.
can't have
Listen,
that.
I'll give up Johnny Drinks before I give up the Big Bank Challenge. What's the other one? The Bus It Challenge, not the Big Bang. The Big Bank's
geez,
okay.
You're that far behind on challenges?
This is where I fucking.
Okay, all right.
Listen, bro, I never claimed to be a fucking.
No, you did not. Speaking of that,
Give me the new one I need. I'm willing to put a new Bus It Challenge into rotation, bro.
But so speaking of that, I just to the world that we're in and how I can't prepare my son for it. There's this one of the things that TikTok and shorts and all that do is like they offer you clips of a song and then you use it and you do whatever you want to it.
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah,
was
yeah.
initially you play music and dance to it and
Yeah.
this is the video. So there's this one song that keeps coming up as I flip through because all these people are using it for their dancing. Like it sounds like a banger. I'm gonna go and look it up on YouTube. It's got 190 million views over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And there's something baffling about that to me that 180 million views, and I've never heard this song even once.
Yeah.
And that's a world that I can't comprehend because I like to think that I kind of keep in touch with pop culture,
Yeah.
especially with the kid, because like when we drive around, sometimes we're listening to
What do you want to listen to, buddy?
right.
Yeah.
We're listening to his music. I've never heard this song in my life.
What's
And
he listening to?
his favorite group right now is AJR. If I played you some of their songs, you would know them. They do that song "Bang" is a very popular one right now. But if trust me, off air, I'll play a couple of their songs and you're gonna know them.
Or I might not.
No, you 100%
You're
will.
forgetting. I'm still on the Bus It Challenge.
I understand, but they transcended their forum. They're used on TV. They're
Right.
used like they're everywhere. And I like that he likes them because they're
Kind of wholesome.
kind of wholesome and also they very much their music has a very hip hop undertone to it.
He's not listening to 21 Savage.
No, but he listens to 21 Pilots. I mean, does that count for
okay.
anything?
So he's kind of fallen more into an alternative lane.
He's kind of in an alternative drum heavy lane. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, 21 Pilots is kind of hip hop
Yeah,
influence too.
for sure.
So, but that's just he really has no choice but to have hip hop influence because it just he's what he's growing up around.
When he was born, the arrangement was Christy watched him during the day, and I watched him at night. But that was also when I was writing music. So, like, all my pictures of him when he's 6 months old
Or next to an
is-
NPC.
Exactly, him sitting in the crib and me writing music. So,
Yeah.
no, he had no choice in the matter, and he seems to have taken to it pretty well.
Yeah.
I told you I got a couple songs of his, and they're bangers.
Yeah. So I was driving around as I do on most mornings, and I thought to myself, crossing guards are really underappreciated. And then I found out they get paid.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking know that. I
Yeah.
thought they were just old people who were like donating their time to the community.
They are for like $15 an hour.
Not even, dude. Like
No.
$11 an
Yeah.
hour. And they're only working an hour a day.
Hour or two a day.
Yeah, two.
Right.
One hour, one
in,
there,
out.
one there. Yeah. So they're making, so they kind of are donating their time because
Yeah.
at $22 an hour, like really, what are you doing with that?
Right.
$22 a day, I mean. But I think that they are underappreciated. Like, we should really be happy. We should really be loving and respecting of our crossing guards because these are people who are working for fucking peanuts. I can't imagine that they're working. It has nothing to do with the money, right? It can't really have anything to do with the money.
No, it's probably a combination of just like they want something to do.
Yeah.
And this is better than being a Walmart greeter because you get outside, you're in the fresh air, you get to at least feel like you're helping the community.
Yeah.
So like it's fulfilling, and then you get a couple bucks for it, and then you go to McDonald's and you get your free refill of coffee, and you sit for a little while and go back.
Yeah. It's always old heads.
It's always old people, and some of them are dickheads, though. Like, I agree overall they're doing a noble thing, but there's a few I've encountered where, like, especially when I was driving the truck, so I would see them all the time because that's the hours I'm out on the road.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few that will just, as soon as they see it coming, they will, like, dive into the middle of the road to get everybody to stop with no fucking warning. All right, calm down. Wait until you have a little space and then come out.
So you're mad at them because they're doing a great job.
No, I'm mad at them because they're a little aggressive. If they were doing a great...
That aggression is what makes a great crossing guard. All right, listen, you can't just sit back on your haunches, rest on your laurels, and think that you're going to be the greatest crossing guard in New Jersey. You got to get out there and attack.
You got to be like Frogger. You got to see the traffic pattern and move into the clear spots.
You have to be one with the traffic. You have to sense.
You have to become the traffic.
You have to connect with the traffic and sense what the traffic will do before it does it, right?
Yeah.
And if that entails that you have to fucking do a somersault ninja roll out to the middle of the street to stop a pretzel truck,
all right,
then that's what you got to do.
I take back my criticism. I apologize.
And that's why crossing guards are underappreciated.
Crossing guards are aces.
You know, they're doing a great thing.
Yeah.
Jake from State Farm hit me up today.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Is he giving you a special rate? The Cove rate?
He hit me up.
Okay.
And said, "Hello, this is Jake from State Farm." I'm like, Jake.
So he wasn't that Jake. He was a different Jake.
Okay. Jake, what's happening? He was like, "Oh, not much. Very well, very well. We save you 35% on your insurance."
Okay. 35% is a nice chunk.
I'm like, "Oh, shit." I'm like, "All right, cool." And then he asked me who I'm with. And I said, "Well, you already know."
You must. How do you know you can save me 35%?
"Jake, I'm with you. I'm with State Farm." He said, "Well, I guess you're in good hands." And then hung up on me. I've perfected getting them to hang up. I have perfected it, bro. Here's the other one that I like to use lately, right? They go, "Hello, man. Is this Sean?" I'm like, "Yeah. How you doing? Who am I speaking with?" "Hey, this is Judy from fill in the blank fake company," right? I'm like, "Judy, I've been waiting for you to call me all day." And usually that fucking ends it right there. Yeah. If I act like I'm happy to hear from them,
they get nervous.
They don't know what the fuck to do with that.
I've started answering the phone more just to get in contact with those people because
it's a good time.
It is. There's a couple people out there on YouTube and on Twitch who, like, their whole channel is just getting the spammer to call them, keeping them on the line for as long as possible. And some of them, especially the ones where, like, you get the email that says your iCloud's been compromised, call us back and we'll help you out.
Yeah.
And, like, they'll hack into their systems and, like, I'm deleting all your files.
Yeah.
And they're a fucking blast. All of them are a blast to watch. Watching them keep these people on the hook.
I've seen them. I don't have the fucking technical know-how to start erasing their files.
No.
But I do love a good conversation with a scammer.
The conversations with the scammer, and even I can't get into them, but I can do the part where what they'll do is they have a window on their computer that's like a fake second computer.
Yeah.
And that's where the scammer is. So no matter what the scammer does, you just close the window and you didn't lose anything and nothing got compromised.
Yeah.
And so they think they're doing all this stuff to you and you're just keeping them on the hook and wasting their time.
Yeah.
They get paid a fucking fortune to do that.
Who's paying them?
So there was there's a podcast called Reply All. And they used to just be like all these different little tech stories that you wouldn't think should be stories. And the one time they did a 3-part show on a spammer called this guy from the show. Yeah. And he kept him on the hook for a little while. And then he started calling the spammer back. And they got to a point where it runs like a regular corporation. Like they go into an office every day. They all have their setup. They get paid $300-$400 for every time they get somebody to pay. They get a whole big chunk of money, and it's like one of the higher paying jobs out there is conning people out of their money.
Yeah.
So it was.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the anti-scammers. Paid.
No, they get paid by monetizing their Twitch and their YouTube and stuff like that. That's how they get paid.
Right. Yeah, I got a thing for fucking with scammers.
Yeah.
It's some people might call me like a pirate of the fucking scam industry. and since people call me that, I've been thinking about possibly buying a parrot.
Okay.
All right.
perch up on your shoulder.
So I saw two parrots talking to each other,
Okay.
and I thought that was kind of cool.
Sure.
Right. And then Mike Tyson has pigeons.
Yeah, he's a big pigeons guy. Carrier pigeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somewhere between a parrot, like, because a parrot is for like an old white lady who has like a lot of flowers.
The only people I ever knew who owned parrots were Dominican people. They were the only ones I ever knew.
Nah.
Like the three people that I knew that owned parrots were all Dominican.
I mean, that doesn't sound far-fetched. But also, like, I feel like a parrot is like a pet that is like an old, lonely white lady.
That's like a Florida divorcee pet.
Yeah. Pretty girl, right?
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
when she walks out.
Just
She's
reassurances.
getting her coffee, and she's like, "You're a pretty girl," so that the fucking parrot says it back to her.
Right.
Yeah. And pigeons are either communists
Sure.
or hood dudes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
trying to figure out what bird falls somewhere in between
Okay.
that I can, like, get as a representative of what, like, for me, as a pet for me. And I don't think it's a duck-billed. What's that? What's the crazy-looking bird with the fucking big shoebill? A shoebill.
shoebill? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a shoebill, although I'd like it to be.
Is it a falcon?
It seems like a lot of work.
It seems like a lot of work.
Being a
but,
falconeer seems like a lot of work. Falconry, great song by Action Bronson.
See?
Falconry also seems like a lot of work.
I'm assuming any pet that you're going to train is going to be some amount of work, but at least when you have the falcon,
Louis G has a turtle, and that doesn't seem like a lot of work.
No, probably
And I
not.
really like turtles
Yeah.
also. So
But the falcon seems like something where, like, you could at least portray yourself as people aren't sure if you're the good guy or the bad guy. Like with the parrot, I don't think there's any like evil parrots. But like a falcon, like, oh, maybe that guy's going to send that.
Blackbeard was evil. He had a parrot.
He's evil, but the parrot's not evil. The parrot's not flying around with a sword and cutting people up.
Wasn't Jafar's parrot illegal? I mean, it's not illegal. It might have been illegal also.
I don't know what the rules were back then.
Didn't Jafar have a fucking evil parrot?
Yeah,
I
but
feel like his parrot. So there is evil parrots out
that's
there.
a cartoon,
You're speaking out
though.
the side of your earlobe, dog.
But the falcon, it's like, oh, is that falcon gonna go and kill
See,
seagulls?
now you stepping out of your lane once
Stepping
again.
out
So
of
I might
Damn
have
it! I
to
should never give you that
smack
sound.
that ass.
As soon as I heard this sound effect, I knew I needed it.
Of all the people who could portray that line and be intimidating, Bow Wow was not the
it.
guy.
He is not the one.
I cannot imagine the scenario where I would be afraid of Bow Wow.
I
But
think-
also, I can't imagine the scenario where I'd be afraid of MC Hammer, and he's apparently somebody to be extremely afraid of if you're smart.
From my understanding, MC Hammer was a real gangster from Oakland.
Thorough gangster.
Yeah, he was a real gangster.
Yeah.
But you got to think, right? At that time, hip hop, like when MC Hammer went into hip hop, gangster rap was very young and not portrayed. Like, so hip hop was across the board, throughout the hood, throughout the, like, hip hop had blown up.
Okay.
But gangster rap had really yet to fucking have its full rise to glory and didn't really take the mainstream when he got into it. By the time he was at, like, Please Don't Hurt Him Hammer, gangster rap was a thing. But he started his voyage into hip-hop when it was strictly a party music.
And the first album was like a gangster album.
Was it?
Yeah, the second album is where... Actually, it's the third album. The third album is where it went very dancey.
Yeah, so
But
I haven't heard
that's
either
all-
of the first two.
That's all I know of him. So like you're watching TV and you're like, here's this guy with these baggy pants who just dances really well.
Yeah.
There's no way this story about him sending people to kill somebody from the East Coast could possibly be right, but apparently it's very much right.
I respect Hammer's gangster.
Oh, I have to. I have no choice.
Anyway, I think probably a falcon seems like too much.
Okay.
Because it's a whole different creature. Like, right? Like parrot and pigeon are both small birds.
Okay.
So you need something kind of in that lane of small bird.
So you have to be So you have to be all the way down to like the cockatoos and the macaws.
Yeah.
And maybe even like a canary. What about canary?
Seems soft.
Subtle enough, but like they're the ones that tell you when the danger's upon you.
Canary seems soft.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe blue jay.
All right.
He's like kind of jazzy, fresh looking.
Yeah.
Cardinal.
Okay.
You know, somebody who
So a baseball team kind
like
of
a bird that dresses
So,
nice.
Oriole.
Orioles are boring.
They got like the tux on. They look nice.
Do they? They got a white-breasted
I
Oriole.
think they have like a sort of a penguin-y look.
I think
What about a penguin?
I mean, a penguin would be fucking cool to have as a pet. And he just waddles
he just
around
waddles,
behind you.
He's like 2 steps behind you at all times, just kind of peeking out from behind your leg. Like, what's good? Whose ankle do I have to peck?
I think a penguin could be a fucking cool pet, even though it doesn't fly.
No.
Like one of the little penguins,
Yeah,
right? Like the ones that are like less than a foot tall.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be dope.
And then you get the African one, so that like the temperatures, like they're there in all the temperatures. They don't care. It doesn't have to be cold. Yeah.
Yeah. With the double colored bill.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the African ones that have.
Yeah.
What are they fucking called?
Aren't they remember. The king? Are they king penguins or something like that?
I don't remember. But I don't even think I ever knew. It's not that I don't remember. I would like a penguin. A penguin would be cool, but I feel like it's also a very dirty pet. Because every time you go to like an aquarium or a zoo, the fucking penguin. Yeah, I'll get with a penguin.
You got like that bull just walking behind you. Like, what's good? What's
good? Yeah. What would you name him?
I'd have to be with him for like a week or two, see his behaviors, and then like name him something. Like,
Emperor Penguin.
Emperor Penguin. I knew it was something royal.
Thank you, Lou G, in the chat. I'm glad somebody's here to give us some goddamn answers, Lou.
Our resident zoologist.
I'd probably name him Cousin It.
Cousin It? All right.
Because he just kind of waddles around.
Just kind of, yeah.
There's a new Addams Family movie.
Yeah, my son just got done with it.
Haven't watched it yet, but there's also a new Muppets.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Yes. It was decent. It was fun.
Muppets.
It was one of the better of the recent Muppet stuff that's been around. It was decent. It was the whatchamacallit? I
love the fact,
Disney ride.
Yeah. Listen, it's a haunted
house.
Yeah. I love the fact that you took that like as a serious task to rank the new Muppets movie. Like, well, did you see? Here's the problem with the Muppets series. They really started to go downhill right around Muppets Go to Space.
I mean, that was pretty preposterous. I know they had pigs in space on the show, but come on.
Yeah, right around the time that the fucking Muppets went to the Gulag in Russia.
Yeah,
things started to go a little sour.
They were going too big with it. They needed to go back to the old ways.
Yeah.
But this was a decent, entertaining movie. Yeah.
Classic Muppet. They're all the same to me, man.
No, that's ridiculous because the Great Muppet Caper is like way up and above all the rest of the Muppet movies.
Isn't the Great Muppet Caper the one where he was in the Gulag?
No, I don't think so. It's the one where they steal the diamond and the whatchamacallit is in it. Is it Steve Martin? No, it's not Steve Martin. It's the guy from Midnight Run.
Jerry Seinfeld.
No, Grodin. Charles Grodin.
Michael Knight.
Charles Grodin.
Oh, I don't even know who Charles Grodin is. That means nothing to me. Anyway, besides the Muppets. Okay, so back in the day, right, there was this rumor. So first off, one time, should I tell this story or should I go into the topic first? I'm getting a little buzzed.
That's good. So go with the topic now while you're still not totally buzzed, and then go to the story.
Well, I think I want to go to the story because it's more entertaining than the topic, and we're already an hour and 15 in.
All right.
So
Hey, it's your show.
Yeah.
I'm just here to make sure it records properly.
So back in, let's probably call it 2003-ish, 2004 possibly. We were smoking a lot of PCP at the time.
Yeah, that was very popular back then.
Yeah, all the kids were doing it.
Sure.
Oh yeah, this fucking movie.
Yeah, that's Charles Grodin.
Yeah. At that time, we were smoking a lot of Angel Dust, Sherm, Wiggles, Water, 120,
Wet,
Hemi, Wet, Gorilla Piss, Banana Caps. We had a fucking 1,000 names for the stuff.
Of course. You don't want the cops knowing what you're talking about.
No. And we would go to North Philly to purchase it.
Okay.
Me and No Skills. Every day we were in North Philly buying PCP. Sometimes we took his mom's car. Sometimes we figured out another way there, right? So this was one of the particular days when we found another way there. No Skills was dating some dusty girl from National Park or something, right?
Okay.
a blonde National Park girl. And if you imagine what a skinny blonde girl from National Park who smokes
Who wants
PCP
to go
looks
to
like,
North Philly for PCP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's who she was.
They all look the same.
Yeah. She was that girl. So we start heading up there. Oh, and Friedel Juice was with us, a.k.a. DJ Two Scoops.
Right.
So we all go up. We're like, oh, yeah, we'll go get some water, right? Because we called it water
Good.
back in
That's
the
how you
day.
get wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. You guys were very clever.
And we got this girl driving. We go up there. We wind up stopping at 5th and Indiana and pull up on the block. 4 fucking white kids who are 18 and under.
Right.
Right? And No Skills hops out. He's like, yo, I'll be right back, ma. And he fucking walks up the block. So we're sitting there, and he's gone for 15 minutes. But you could just barely see him all the way up the other end of the block. Like, the fuck's this guy doing up there? We're getting nervous because we're fucking kids, right? I haven't been to the hood to buy PCP that many times yet. Well,
Right.
I had been doing it for at least a month or two, but I'm
But
still
you didn't have the
relatively new.
routines down. You didn't know
Not
what,
as
what
comfortable
was good.
as
Right.
I once was, by the time I was 27,
Right.
running around the hood.
Right. No Skills seems like the kind of guy who, if we were filming a horror movie, he'd be that first guy who walked off to investigate, and you just never see him again because he was the first one to get murdered. Like, he always seems to be the first one to progress to what I'll be right back in the middle of somewhere that you're really not super familiar with, in a situation that's probably not safe at all. I'm going to go walk off, guys. And all of you are just like, good luck.
I'd say that's not that far-fetched from what No Skills is, yeah. So he's up the end of the block talking to some dude and hanging out. I'm like, the fuck's going on? So 15 minutes later, he comes back. He's like, ma, they only had Xannies there. I'm like, so what the fuck are you hanging out for? I was getting Xannies, ma.
Yeah, well,
I'm
yeah.
like, all right, whatever.
You go to the grocery store for food, and the shelves are light. You just
Yeah.
buy what they got.
I'm like, all right, fine. Now we got to go to a different block.
Right.
So we go from 5th and Indy. We drive about 4 or 5 blocks over to one of our particular favorite places, which was 7th and Clearfield.
Okay.
7th and Clearfield, once I went to buy this was a different time. I went to go buy a nickel jar of wet.
Okay.
And so I told him at the corner, I said, yo, I want a 5, meaning I want a nickel.
Right.
Right? A $5 jar.
Yes.
So they yell up to the dude up the block in Spanish. This was before I spoke drug dealing
And it's
Spanish.
Street Spanish.
Yeah. They yell up to the dude up the block, and they're like, yeah, go up there. So I walk up to him, and he fucking puts 5 jars in my hand.
5. Yeah.
Right. And
Cinco.
I'm like, no. I just want 1. And he was all pissed off.
Right.
He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, my bad, dude. I just want 1. So I hand him those back, give him the money.
Right.
As I'm walking away, he yells out, yo, nix that wigger. Right? Not wigger, but obviously the other
Something
word.
along those lines.
Yeah. And I don't know what that means,
Right.
but it doesn't sound happy.
No one
so
yells
now,
that out in a good situation.
I have no choice but to walk past this corner because the car is there.
Right.
So now I'm like, I might get stabbed, but I had to dutifully and, just like a goddamn wet smoking soldier,
Right.
walk down that block with my head held
and try
high
to keep your cool.
and hope that I don't get killed when I hit the corner.
Right.
I didn't.
No, obviously.
As soon as I walked past them, then my thought was like, they're going to stab
chase
me
us
from
down.
behind
Yeah,
or some
yeah.
shit. Didn't happen.
Okay, good.
So anyway, we go to 7th
2
and
for 2.
Clearfield, and we buy a couple of jars, right? We get them. There was no, no hassle. Get what we need. We peel off. We're driving down Allegheny,
Okay.
Lehigh, one of those,
Right.
right? One of the main thoroughfares through North Philly. And we haven't smoked any of it yet, whatever. We're just on the way. We're headed back to Jersey. This girl is driving. This girl from National Park.
Right.
We're driving straight. A car comes and very far in front of us has his left turn signal on and starts turning. For some reason, he stops. This girl, instead of hitting the brakes to slow down, speeds up
Pushes through.
and hits him. Dead
Sure.
on.
Sure.
Completely her fault. Dead on, smacks into him. And we all are like, what the fuck is your problem? She was like, and she's flipping out. Like, what the fuck was he in the street for? He should have made the fucking turn. Like, she's not in the wrong here, right? Like, she didn't speed up and hit this fucking dude.
She was following the rules. He just jumped out of nowhere.
He was in the wrong lane. She's flipping. We're like, yo, you're fucking batshit crazy. Like, we got all this fucking drugs on us. We're a couple of white kids in North Philly, and you're driving like an asshole. She was like, fuck it, it's fine. So the dude hops out the car. He's like, what the fuck? And he's like talking angrily at her. Not anything like wildly aggressive, but like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you don't fucking see me here? She hops out and starts tossing N-bombs around, right? Oh, are you fucking kidding me? F you and this, just dropping them left and right, flipping out on this dude, and just tossing racial slurs like it's badminton, right? And we're looking at each other like...
We should go.
I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Now, not only are the cops... We better hope the cops get here before somebody else hears this bitch yelling in the middle of the street.
They kill her.
So now fucking Skills, who has all of the wet in his pocket, starts distributing it. He's like, we got to fucking do something with this.
Of all the times that No Skills walks off on his own, this is the exact fucking moment that he should walk off on his own, and instead he stays now?
Well, here's the thing. We're from fucking all the way over in Jersey.
I know.
We're 17 years old.
I understand.
It's not even... I don't even think we knew that you could get like on the L and take it down to Center City and then get we didn't know that you could get away.
I get all that, but like, I'll take the drugs and go this way, and hopefully you guys will catch up with me in a little while, and that's it. Like, you can't just hang around and hope for the cops.
Would have made perfect sense. Except we're a couple of fucking PCP smoking white kids from Jersey who are 17 years old, right? So she's flipping out, tossing around fucking... She sounds like the slave master's angry wife in 1870, the way she's talking to this dude. I'm yelling at Skills. I'm like, yo, you better go fucking get your bitch before she gets us killed out here, because she's fucking talking crazy and she's a fucking idiot.
Right.
He's like, Mom, what you want me to do? I'm like, I want you to get your fucking girl, dude. I want you to fucking grab her and put her in the fucking car and apologize to that man.
Yes.
Man, I can't do nothing. I'm like, you gotta be... So they're still yelling at each other, the two of them. And he's like, you know what, fuck you. We'll deal with it when the fucking cops get here.
Yeah.
And so Skills, at that point, is like, man, we gotta get rid of this shit. I'm like, Skills, what do you want me to do with it? You know, like, what the... He's like, man, we gotta put it in our ass. I'm like, oh, no, I don't know, Skills. I don't do that. Like, I've never put anything in my ass, bro. How do you do this, right? So I'm like...
You're entertaining the thought.
Of course, I didn't want to go to jail. I had already been to jail so many times at that point that I was willing to do what had to be done to fucking not go to jail.
So...
Go ahead. I'll take some questions now at the intern.
Okay, so like I said before, I'm not steeped in the drug game, but I've moved some drugs around in the past. Yeah. Anytime that I thought that legal danger was lurking, none of my first 150 thoughts were, what if I shove this up my ass? Why is that the first thing he comes up with, and why do you fucking entertain it?
Again,
literally, walk across the street, find a drain, and throw it down the fucking drain is a much better idea than stick it up your ass.
Because this is the kind of fucking junksters we were at the point.
You can't lose the drugs.
We don't want to lose the drugs. Because we just spent our last fucking $40 on four jars of PCP. This is everything that we have to our name.
And you can't come back till tomorrow.
Yeah. How am I going to get another $40? You know? So,
I did want to ask you that because you brought it up now, so hold on a second. You were going every day. How were you getting the funds, and why couldn't you just buy in bulk?
So, at a point, we were.
Okay.
At a point, we would buy 2 bundles, right?
Okay.
So, you get like 14 jars in a bundle. So, we would pay $100. We would pay $200 and get 28 jars or something like that. And sell one bundle, or at least... we wound up selling enough that we made enough to go ahead and get more tomorrow and do the same thing, right? Because, also, you could sell them for double in Jersey. Okay. So if you buy a nickel jar in North
You
Philly,
get a dime for it.
you can pay. Yeah, you can sell it for 10 in
Okay.
Jersey. So we were smoking a lot more than we were selling, but since you could double the price,
You were still okay.
we still made enough to keep smoking it.
Right. Yeah, you only had to sell one of your bundles,
Keep
have
the
the
hustle
other
going.
bundle, and you can keep doing that every day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or however many days it lasts.
Yeah, we would smoke like fucking 18 jars a day. It was fucking ridiculous, bro. The amount of PCP that we smoked is unhuman.
Looking back on it, it was excessive.
Yeah, yeah. Looking back on it, I don't think that I could take 2 fucking puffs off of a PCP joint right now. And I was smoking 18 jars. We were smoking fucking like the White Owl Philly blunts. Fucking twisted up with like 4 or 5 jars at a time.
All right.
Be like, yeah, we smoked fucking 5 jars, dude. We're chilling.
What of it? Yeah.
We're chilling. Sometimes you'd take your shirt off and run around the block because you had the urge to. But that's
or
as
you're
crazy
warm.
as it got.
Yeah, sure.
Nothing really.
That and sticking jars up your ass.
Well, I hadn't smoked any yet, so I had to stick it up my ass to make
Until you
sure
could
that
get
I
there.
could later smoke it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So no skills. After we fucking hit this car, she's yelling racial slurs. No skills is like, yo, man, we gotta stick them in our ass, man. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, we do.
So skills and fucking Friedel juice accept this fate as if it was not a big deal.
Yeah.
Me, this is a first for me. All right, I've never put anything in my ass. I have never planned on putting
Never
anything in
considered
my
it.
ass.
Yeah. It wasn't even like when you got up in the morning, you weren't like, well, let me wash up extra just in case I got to be back there.
Never did I picture myself in a situation where I was like, hey, one day, I'm living this lifestyle. One day I might have to put a jar of wet in my sphincter. Right? That never occurred to me.
No, it wasn't part of the game plan.
So I'm kind of having I'm having a life-altering moment in the back seat, trying to decide if this is what I want to do. Is this what I have to do? Do I have a choice in this matter?
Is this where we are today?
And as it turns out, I had no choice.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Whoa, okay.
The way I understood the facts was that if I don't put this jar in my butt, we're going straight to prison for life. Was kind of the way that it played out in my head. Which, in reality, probably nothing would have happened. I don't even think when the cops showed up that they searched. Oh, no, actually, here's what happened, right? So these two are yelling at each other. We stick jars in our butts, right? They continue to yell at each other. She tells this dude, fuck you. He says, fuck you.
Right.
And she walks back over to the car and sits there. And we're like, yo, the cops are coming. And she's like, man, fuck those cops. And she pulls off.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So she decided she wasn't going to deal with the police and the insurance and the like.
And left you guys in a hit and run situation?
Yeah, yeah. And takes
With
off.
drugs up your ass?
Yeah. And she takes off. So now we feel like we're looking like geeked out. Like, is there cops?
Right.
Like probably 6, because we're in Kensington in North Philly, right? So probably 6 or 7 cops have passed us on our way from 7th and Clearfield to get to 95.
Right.
Not one of them fucking stopped.
No, they're trying to get out of there.
They got the call over the fucking radio, and we're like, yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
We're dealing with drug dealers, murderers, rapists.
We have real stuff to deal
with.
with. You guys go get high and leave us alone.
So we get on the highway, and we get back to Jersey. Once we hit, like, the fucking bridge, we're like, whew, all right, like, I think we're safe.
How did you get out? Did she come back?
No. We're in the car.
You're with. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys were like, okay. I thought you guys were standing, and then she took off without you.
No.
Oh, okay.
We're in the car. She's outside of the car fighting with this dude,
right?
Yelling at him like it's fucking 1947, and he's trying to integrate into fucking American public schools.
He just wants to eat at the diner. I don't know why he's gonna be so upset.
And then we're in the car, and all of us are like, sticking jars in our butt. Back in the seat like this, like fucking leaning back, trying to fucking put our hands in our butt cracks.
Did you guys,
Please.
I guess it's easier for me to look at it, from the outside looking
I love
in.
the questions. Doesn't mean I have a logical answer for any of it,
understand.
but I like the questions.
What was you guys' relationship with this girl? Like, was she one of your girlfriends?
I think Jay was banging her No Skills was sleeping with her, but
like, did he care for her?
I don't think No Skills cared for anybody.
So, because my follow-up question is like, theoretically, rather than sticking the drugs up your ass. Again, I'm opposed to that as the first,
I don't
second,
know
third
why.
option. You could have just like tucked the drugs in the car, and when the cops found them, just been like, "Oh,
I don't
it's
know.
not my car."
Yeah, I think we could have, but we had honor.
Did you though?
I don't know.
While you were driving away from the scene of the crime, were you considering your honor?
Well, we were telling her she was a piece of shit.
Oh, okay.
And me and fucking Friedel Juice are also yelling at Skills. We're like, what the fuck, dude? This bitch is a fucking lunatic. Look at what the fuck you got us in.
Right.
Now we're fucking running away from the scene of a fucking crime.
And he couldn't care less.
Ma, I don't know, man. We got the what, though?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the...
mission accomplished.
Yeah, exactly. So once we get to the bridge...
Right.
We kind of feel safe, right? Like,
Yeah.
we all kind of let out a ceremonious sigh of relief, right? And now we get across the bridge, we get back to Skill's mom's house in Runnymede.
Okay.
Because his mom she was wilding in her own right, hanging out on a bar stool somewhere, I believe. So we kind of had free run to do what we wanted. You know, we were 17, so nobody's parents were really going to let us smoke PCP at the house. But since his mom wasn't there, we could hang out and do it all day. So we get back to her house, and Mindy, the bitch's name was Mindy.
Okay.
Right? Oh, fucking Mindy. Yeah, she was like every Mindy you've ever seen, bro, is what she looked like, right? And
Facts of life, Mindy.
yeah, we get back there, and fucking Skills and Juice are like, now the thing with Wet is that it's on mint leaves, and for some reason they told us that you had to keep them in the freezer, right?
Okay.
With fucking mint leaves and embalming fluid and dippers and certain forms of PCP, you're supposed to keep it in the freezer to keep it fresh. Was the old wives' tale.
Like all the other herbs, yeah. That's the same thing I do with oregano, so I get it.
That was the wives' tale. You had to keep your wet in the freezer.
Sure.
So when we get back, Skill's like, come on, man. Let's put these jars in the freezer, man. I'm like, all right, cool. So him and Juice fucking reach back in their pants and fucking grab their jars of wet and throw them in the freezer. And they're like, where's the jar, man? I'm like, what do you mean? I got it in my ass. They're like, yeah, well, give it to me.
Now
give it to me.
unass it.
Yeah. I'm like, well, it's not that easy. I don't know how you just got it out like that. They're like, wait a second. You mean you swallowed it? I'm like, well, yeah. Like
Did you not?
I stuck it in my ass.
Yeah,
like
that's what you told me to do.
They're like, ma, you're just supposed to squeeze it in your cheeks, man. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that? You said stick it in your ass. I'm thinking I had to stick it in my ass.
Very
right?
clear
So
instructions.
Yo, man, you boofed the wet, man? I'm like, yeah, I boofed the wet, dude. That's what you told me to do. I thought we were trying to hide it from the cops, not fucking...
Well, yeah, so that would be the thing. Like, if you're just clenching it in your cheeks to hide it from the cops, what if they just fucking search you? What if they tell you get against the wall and spread your legs?
What if they shake your cheeks?
Well, no. Get against the wall, put your hands on the wall and spread your legs.
That's
Immediately,
what I thought.
you're lost.
Right. This is what I thought,
Yeah.
right?
For once, you're being logical.
Yeah. Because I stuck the jar all the way in my butthole. Right? Now, this is the only time I'm lying.
In a non-sexual manner.
No. I boofed other things once.
Okay.
Which we could talk about if you want to keep talking about boofing drugs, I'd be glad.
Maybe all Friday's show, next Friday can just be the boof show. I'll bring some appropriate music.
So they're like, well, man, you got to get it out. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, how's that work?
Yeah. What do I do? They're like, I don't know, man. I guess go try and shit it out.
Yeah, I mean,
which is what I did. You know, it took a little bit of work.
Sure.
But I did get it out.
You got everything moving and you pushed it out.
We wiped it off with a little bit of water.
Yeah,
and then we smoked it.
Yeah.
So that was that. That was the time I swallowed a jar of wet.
I do feel like the way I grew up, I missed out on some hijinks in my life. But these stories that you tell, nah, I'm fine. I've never had wet up my ass, and I don't think that was ever on my checklist. So
it wasn't on mine either. I didn't know when I woke up that day.
You didn't know it was going to be
I didn't know that I
wet
was
ass day.
sticking a glass jar full of fucking chemical soaked mint leaves inside of my butthole.
Instead of the freezer. That's like the opposite of the freezer, too.
Yeah, but it still got us high. So
yeah.
that kind of really what that served was it debunked the keep it in the freezer myth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had it at like 98.6 degrees for the whole ride home.
For at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good. So
that was like cooking it almost.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. and it turned out fine.
Yeah.
The boofing hour, Lou. It's the boofing hour. Welcome to the GiG podcast and the boofing hour.
The GiG presents the boof.
There was another time when I was the only other time I boofed something, right? Was I knew I was getting locked up because I was on drug court.
Okay.
And so like on drug court, you usually know if you fuck up, like you know that they're gonna lock you up at fucking when you go to see your PO. Yeah. So I knew that, and I was like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna fucking boof a couple Suboxone and bring them into the jail because then I could get paid. I'll fucking sell them. Once you get in jail,
don't they search you before you go into jail?
They do, but they don't put a finger in your butt.
They're not that thorough.
No.
Okay.
No, they don't give a fuck. They're not there. They're not there to fucking.
Yeah.
They're there to fucking get a paycheck.
Right.
Ain't there for nothing else.
Right.
They're just motherfuckers who couldn't get a decent job somewhere else. This was the last on the list of decent jobs they could get.
I don't mean to
jobs with benefits.
I don't mean to question you, but it seems like a decent enough job. You work 20 years, you get a full pension, and all you got to do is make it through some people really fucking ridiculing you a lot.
I don't know how they don't get paid very much, but you get benefits.
You get benefits and you get lifetime pension.
Yeah, if you didn't go to school and like. It's not a bad option for a fucking career choice.
It's not trash man. Trash man's better, but
I'd rather be a trash man without a doubt.
But it's not bad.
No. I can understand. I understand why people would find that job appealing. You know, it has its benefits, but they don't give a fuck about what's going on in the joint. They're just there to babysit you and get their paycheck.
Yeah.
So, I was dating this girl at the time who was a certified lunatic.
Unlike Mindy.
She was a different type of lunatic than Mindy. Because I got locked up, right? So I boof a couple of Suboxone to bring into the joint with me.
Yeah.
Get locked up. Now I got the Suboxone, so like I'm kind of the guy on the pod as soon as I get there. Like now I got the juice card because I got the drugs.
Is this before or after the wet incident?
Oh, this was way after.
Okay.
Years and years after. I forgot that I had the ability to boof until I had to do it.
Gotcha.
So I get the drugs of the joint. Now I'm set, right? Because I sell a bunch. I keep a bunch. I got some fucking snacks. I got some fucking smokes. Like I'm kind of chilling now, right?
Yeah, you set up shop.
I'm there for a couple months. They send me to that program in Trenton that was like Wild Crooked, right?
Right.
They send me there. I'm there for a couple of weeks. And they tell me, they're like, you can go home for Thanksgiving if you want. And I'm like,
okay.
All right, sounds cool.
Yeah.
However, the whole time I'm taking Suboxone, right? So I got dirty urine. So
right.
And I haven't been talking to my family, right? So I'm like, well, I'm not going to call them up and fucking show up from jail to fucking hang out for Thanksgiving at my family's house.
Right.
So this girl who I'm talking to throughout my bid is like, oh my God, you could come home for Thanksgiving? Like, I'm so excited. You can come to my grandmom's with me and this, that, and the third. And I'm like,
no.
What am I going to do when I go to your grandma's house and your uncles start asking what I do for a living and shit like that? Like, I'm not really in a fucking life position to be meeting your family.
You're a pharmacist.
That I haven't met yet. I just don't think that's a good idea.
Right.
As a matter of fact, maybe we should stop talking. Right? Because usually I break up whatever girl I'm dating, when I would get locked up, I would break up with them immediately.
Right.
I'm like, look, I'm not going to pretend this is something that it ain't. Now, if you could send me $30 to get me a couple of snacks, that would be great. But I don't see this going anywhere. I'm not trying to hold you back. Go do your thing, babe.
Right.
If you're around when I come home, cool. Maybe we'll see what happens. I told her that when I first got locked up, and she's like, no. no, I'm not going to leave you there by
I'm
yourself.
not that kind of guy.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, well, listen, if you want to keep playing yourself and fucking sending me snack money, I'm not going to fucking fight with you not to. I already told you what it was.
Right.
So, also, as it turns out, so she's crying that I won't come home for fucking Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I find out like a year or two later that she was pregnant by somebody else while she's crying about me not coming home for Thanksgiving, you fucking lunatic. Like, what's the fucking point of the charade? You got a boyfriend. That's fine. I'm
Yeah.
cool. I don't care, you
Right.
know? Whatever. This fucking bro was crazy. Yeah, so I wound up not going because I didn't want to go and have to deal with her family.
Yeah.
But also because if I went and then came back, I would have had a dirty urine.
They would have made you test.
And then they would have sent me back to the fucking joint.
Okay.
So that was that.
Right.
Why I say all that
It's to say this.
is to say that back in the day, there used to be there was this old wives' tale that if you boofed drugs, they would hit you faster.
Yes.
You've heard this.
Well, I've heard it in conjunction with alcohol, but yes. Because it
I've heard about the alcohol-soaked tampon.
Right, because
in
it,
the butthole.
it absorbs quicker into the bloodstream.
I don't think I'm buying it.
Okay.
I mean, I could be completely wrong. I don't know the science on it.
Right.
The science, the bro science that I was told, it makes sense. You know, it soaks into the bloodstream quicker or whatever. But also at the same time, like if you stick a E-pill in your butt,
Right.
I don't think that it's going to melt. Like your stomach enzymes are made to break down food and pills and things that you put in it.
Yeah.
Your butthole enzymes are not necessarily made to break down the butt chug. Louis said the butt chug. Fucking your butthole enzymes are not made to break down ecstasy pills.
But that's kind of the point. So the pill itself, when it comes to the ecstasy, it's not like they're putting it in a time-release capsule. They're
hey,
giving.
babe, yeah, we're talking about putting the X pills in your butt.
So the pill that you get is the drug. So, like your stomach is breaking it down, but at the same time, it's sort of dissolving some of the drug before it hits your bloodstream. So you're avoiding that part of the process. So if it's a 5 milligram tablet, you're getting the whole 5 milligrams instead of maybe 3.5 by the time your stomach is done with it.
Yeah.
Would be the idea.
Yeah.
Now I don't know either way, but that's the idea.
Yeah, me neither.
It's the same with the alcohol. Like you're bypassing the stomach because all the stomach is going to do is reduce some of the whatever you're putting in your system.
See, with the alcohol, I feel like it's not going to work, right? Because let's say you're doing a butt chug,
Yeah.
right?
Or the booty bump, as they call it. Yeah.
I like the butt chug, right? And I'm assuming that we're all on the same page here as it being an alcohol-soaked tampon.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much alcohol really can soak up into a tampon? 2 shots at most?
Well, I mean, 3 shots. But look, have you ever? Well, I mean, while you weren't in your cycle of heavy drugs,
Yeah.
have you ever gone to the bar and just hit 3 shots right in a way, bang, bang, bang? It hits you. I mean, you're not going to
give
be
you a buzz.
You're not going to be fall down drunk, but it's going to hit you.
Unless
So now you're doing
unless you hit 3 shots in the butt chug.
Well,
boom, boom, boom.
But that's yeah. So now you've got that going on, and you can be drinking off the front too. It's like you got an alcohol
You can
train
go
running
front
on you.
side. You go front side and back side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, double the intake.
Yeah, 6 shots at once.
I feel like double the intake would do something. I don't know. It seems so far-fetched to me
It does.
that it would be a thing that actually works.
It does. Yeah, that and enough people continue to do it that we have names for it and all that stuff. So it must have some level of effectiveness, more than just girls like to do it because they can sneak into school while they're drinking, basically.
Don't people blow... This is Lou's question. This is the question from the chat. Don't people blow cocaine into buttholes with a pen? Is that something that you've experienced?
I've not experienced that directly. I'm not familiar with that. But again, once we're in the vortex of drug doing, nothing's going to really surprise me that it exists.
You got to have a lot of cocaine to be okay with wasting some.
Some of it, yeah. Or it's got to be really cheap, which then what are you doing?
by blowing it into your butthole with a pen.
Right.
Now that I don't do drugs, I kind of feel like I want to blow a little butthole into my cocaine.
Well, the other way around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
It'll be safer.
Yeah, I mean,
Listen, we're not doing that on the show, but you can document it and let us know how it turns out.
When you're with strippers, things happen.
It is true.
and that's true, and that's very true.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna do any cocaine. I'm not gonna put any cocaine in my butthole with a pen. But
As far as you're concerned.
yeah, if you're listening to this on the replay and you have any input and want to tell us your experience with putting drugs in your butt, I'd be interested in hearing how true it is, or how, if it actually works.
If it did anything, or if it was just like heat of the moment, do this, see how it turns out. We're all just fucking wasted and we don't really know what we're doing.
Or if it's something like, you and your buddies get into a car accident with a racist girl, and
Yeah. You just got to hide
your
coke
buddy
somewhere.
turns around and says, "Hey, put this E-pill in your butt." And then what happens?
And you mistake pinching it between your cheeks for shoving it up your ass.
Yeah. Shit like that happens every day, dude.
Believe me, if I had a dime for every time.
Yeah.
He's a good man, actually.
Regardless of what he put in his butt.
Sure. I'm not going to judge you for it.
I mean, we are an hour and 50 minutes into this party.
Yeah, we're rocking on the booth show.
Yeah, on the boofing hour. You got anything else you'd like to discuss?
No, I think we hit enough here. I'm good. I whenever you tell your stories at Kensington, all I think about is when I was driving Lyft. I got a call to Kensington, I was under the L in Kensington, and I start to pull up, and I'm at a corner where there's a check cashing place. Right, it's 1 a.m. It's I don't want to take this ride, but I got to take this ride, and then I'll get out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling up, and there's I'm on a strip where there's an open check cashing place, and there's something next to it, and there's just fucking people on the sidewalk that my instincts are telling me I don't want anything to do with these people. And as I get closer to the corner, which is roughly where that's where the pin drop is, this guy who appears to be disheveled and homeless.
Thank you for the input, Stefani. Every fun drug has a different bioavailability depending on your ROA. ROA, I don't know what that is, but morphine
Rate
would
of absorption.
Morphine would do well in the rear. Vicodin, on the other hand, needs
Not so
the
much.
liver.
Okay.
My wife, who is a scientist,
Yeah.
because once she thinks about something, she goes
Got to
all
go
in.
dive in.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Finds out all the facts. All right, so 1 in the morning,
So I
check cash in place,
pull up to the
shady
curb,
characters.
Pull up to the curb where I'm supposed to roughly be, and this disheveled, probably homeless guy stands in front of my car, and he's got a towel he's waving, and he's pointing me to the curb.
He's
And
waving you down with a towel. I love it.
He's waving me
love
down with
it
a towel.
already.
And I'm like, I got a decision to make here. And it's basically, do I listen to this guy and try to keep the peace with whatever the fuck is going to happen here?
Yeah.
Or do I blow this whole thing and then cancel the ride? And it's not that big of a deal, but at that point, I'm just like, I'm going to see where this takes me.
You were in for an adventure.
I've lived a good life.
Yeah.
So I pull over, and he's like, roll the window down.
This is going to pay for a gallon of milk.
Yeah, exactly.
We need that gallon of milk.
Yeah, it's good milk. So he's like, roll the window down. I'm like, I'm not fucking rolling the window down, but I cracked the window. And he leans in and he goes, the ladies have asked me to advise you that they'll be out shortly. So if you could just wait for them, they'd really appreciate it. And I'm like, okay. So he stands there and he's washing my fucking window, and 2 ladies come walking out, and he opens the door for them, and they get in.
Pimpin'.
And you can head off now, sir. I'm like, thanks. I will, of all the rides I've ever had, that man telling me the ladies will be with you shortly. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck is happening right now, but I'm going to get shot.
Yeah. And you didn't.
No, I didn't. I survived.
Where'd you take them to?
They went to South Philly. They smelled like all the crack.
Yeah.
And they went to Old City. They went to 3rd and Arch. But they were very nice. They were very sweet ladies, but
Were they rugged looking, or were they good looking hookers?
No.
They looked like they've been smoking crack in Kensington.
They looked like they had just cleared just enough funds for the crack that they had.
Yeah.
And then it took them down to 3rd and Arch, and I'm like, here you go. And
Their crack took them to 3rd and Arch. God
that
bless them.
That was as far as it would take them. They couldn't get the 2nd. They didn't have enough.
Yeah. Well, Kensington.
Yeah, it's a wild fucking place.
Now there's this what I've noticed is this this trend on YouTube of people walking through Kensington with cameras.
There was a
Literally, just to like they're showing like, because here's the thing. I think 90% of America would turn onto Kensington Ave and go, "Oh no, we got to get out of here," right? So they're like intrigued by it because it's not like anything you've ever fucking seen. Kensington Ave in the midst of a fucking pandemic and fentanyl fucking also a fentanyl pandemic.
Right.
Opioid pandemic. What do they call it? The crisis.
Crisis.
Yeah. A fentanyl crisis. And nobody's doing cocaine anymore. It's all meth.
Right.
It's all meth and it's all fentanyl, which are two drugs that turn you into a fucking zombie.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whereas, like, the dope and the coke, like, they fucked you up. But I don't think
they kept your heart beating.
I don't think they created the same kind of psychosis as meth and fentanyl do.
Right.
So I drive through there every once in a while on fucking some kind of work adventure, right? Or going to the bike store or whatever.
Right.
There's times that I'm driving through there, and it's a different world than it was even when I was running through there. And I thought when I was running through there, it was like fucking Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Now it's
worse.
Night of the Living Dead, psychotic
dead.
zombies. Yeah. It's just fucking weird. People are just on the side of the street shaking and fucking looking at the ground and like punching the air, and it's just
and
fucking
these
weird.
other people
There's
are just
a lot of psychosis.
filming themselves walking through like it's some kind of achievement to get through there safely.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's like a sideshow. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, look at the fucking crazy sideshow. It's really
Fear factor.
It's a fucking sad show.
It absolutely is. It's very disturbing and sad, but yeah, they're treating it like it's Fear Factor.
And they're getting paid off of it.
I'm sure.
Which is kind of crazy because I was never getting paid off of I was just
you were doing it
spending
for
money.
free,
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a thing that the videos keep popping up of big name travel YouTubers who are fucking now going to Kensington as if it's a fucking destination.
Yeah, that's
which I understand.
It's not a great idea, one way or the other.
No, but I understand it as far as it goes because it's something that I think definitely should be documented.
Agreed.
It's they say it's the largest open air drug market in America, maybe the world, I don't know.
Right.
But it's, to me, right, because I spent so many years running out that direction, and even before that, I was hanging out in Camden. So to me, the idea of an open air drug, I used to make deliveries of menus to the pizza places there. Hated going every time.
Yeah.
So sketch. Yeah, super sketch. When you're a regular citizen, it's not like somewhere you want to be.
No, I'm not particularly afraid of driving through pretty much anywhere,
No.
but I get tight when I'm driving through there. I get real fucking tight. I couldn't hide any wet during my drive through through Kensington.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It bothers it brings it, which is kind of sick, right? This is my fucking sick twistedness. It brings about the fucking nostalgia to me, right?
Oh, okay.
I love this wild shit.
Yeah.
Right?
I used to be in the middle of this.
Yeah, I used to fucking love being in the mix of this fucking wildness and this fucking weirdness.
Right.
And so, but I think it's something that, being that it's like the fucking largest open air drug market in America, probably, it's something that should be documented as the woes of our society, or who knows, 100 years from now, who knows where society will be at and what it will be like. So it's a good thing to kind of say hey, this was what happened at a certain point.
Well,
there was places like this that existed.
I absolutely agree with that, but that's not what these people are doing.
No,
these
of course
people
not.
are exploiting the situation for their own monetary gain.
They're absolutely exploiting it for their own monetary gain. But in the midst of doing that, it's helping to add historical, backstory to things. But yeah, man, there's not anything that you're ever going to see that's quite like it.
No. And that's probably a good thing.
And yeah, dude. Yeah. There's some entertainment value. I've been down there. Like, I remember looking at a job on Kensington Ave at one point, and so having to get out of the truck and like walk to
Park
the
it and
Ave,
hope
and,
for the
like,
best.
you know, and it's just like there's a certain kind of I'm not fearful, right? And that maybe it's because I'm dumb,
Right.
or maybe it's because I just spent so much time in the fucking muck and the mud that I
You're
understand.
numb to it. It doesn't look as terrifying to you because you're familiar with people including you, who've been in this, and
Yeah.
you know that appearances are one thing, but they're not actually shitty vultures who are all trying to rip you apart and kill you.
Well, I mean, no,
Not all
they they probably are shitty vultures who are trying to fucking rip you apart. But I think that a couple things going for me. One, I look like I could be the cops,
Right.
so they don't fuck with me.
Okay.
Right? Because they're like, nah, this guy's the fucking cops.
Yeah.
We ain't talking to him. Because nobody
Get
on
the tight haircut and the
yeah,
biceps.
nobody on the fucking Ave looks as healthy as I do. I'm
Right.
not even like
No.
on some fucking
No.
arrogant shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm just
Just some for real.
as a regular dude, nobody fucking looks that healthy, right? So
Right.
I already am like, you know,
Suspicious.
yeah.
Like, what's this working out guy doing in Kensington?
Yeah. Two, I feel like if somebody did try and step to me, I would welcome the problem because I haven't had one in quite a while, right? And I feel like, sure.
Test out the old muscles.
Yeah, let's see how this fucking goes. Mikey D, what's he got to say in the comments here? Hold on.
My comments are
How about
rolling.
that video I sent you of the dude running around with with the skeleton finger, just going about his business? Mikey, I forgot about that. So Mikey sends me a picture.
Okay.
This dude's flesh is eating itself away,
Oh, okay.
dude.
Was he like a crocodile guy?
It must have been,
Okay.
dude. Right? Like, literally, you could see it was all like black and just no flesh on his fucking finger.
Just gangrene everywhere.
Just bone, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you just saw down to the bone, like around the top. It was like a fucking, like his regular skin carried on to his first knuckle.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like black and shit around to the second knuckle. And then from the second knuckle up, it was just a skeleton finger.
It was like what
didn't look real.
It was
dude.
like what you would imagine in the movies would be dip somebody's finger in acid, and this would be the end
Exactly,
result. Yeah.
exactly. And this dude was just fucking hanging
Yeah,
out.
that's my finger. What are you gonna do?
Just getting a little more fucking,
It's great for opening Ziploc bags.
getting a little more crocodile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't stop the crocodile party.
fucking
So
wild.
yeah, I mean, it's wild. If you've never been there, you should take a trip with your family.
Yeah.
It's kid friendly.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's definitely a good place to bring the young ones. Just
Absolutely.
to
Get out, stroll around a little bit, take in
just
the
to
different scents.
just to kind of teach them about what happened. Like, it's a way better lesson than
Get
Dare.
your fucking grades.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Keep them on the right path. That's all.
It's your own little scared straight.
It's wild, dude. It's wild.
It is.
So, if you've been hanging out for this long with us, we highly appreciate it. You've been
Absolutely.
in the party for 2 hours. We've been in the party for 2 hours. We talked about some great things today.
We did.
At the end here, it really got exciting when we got into the boofing hour.
Yeah, apparently that's what draws in the crowd. So we'll have to start out next week with ass play.
Yeah. I'll tell you about the time when I was at a house party and there was a dude wearing rollerblades and he had a cigarette sticking out of his butt.
All right.
All
Jot
right.
that down to make sure we remember.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on it.
Okay.
We appreciate Louis G, as always, is in the building. When it comes time to have a moderator in the chat,
He's the real one.
the first one elected is Louis G.
No
because
question.
my man is A1 day one.
Yeah.
Mikey D, I'm glad you showed up. You're a little late for work, buddy, but
but
you're here.
hey,
you know
you
what I mean?
showed
You're
up.
here nonetheless.
He showed up and he pitched in.
And to the one cute-looking girl, I'm about to come see you in a minute, Shawnee. Anyway, thank you for joining us here at the gig on another Friday night. All the replays, if you're listening to this replay, go ahead and know that there's more on YouTube if you
Right.
want to check them out. Also, there's the Tool Shed, which is me, Payday Biz, and usually a guest, a bunch of tools, talking shit in the shed. And we will be back again live right here on Monday night with Volume 12 of the Tool Shed. And again, we'll be here next Friday with another episode of The Gig. So we appreciate you coming through tonight. And we're out of here. Peace.